shack at. The bottles getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, December 29th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Our last show of 2023 right here, and it's packed with afternoon action. We've got to move very quickly. We've got to keep a brisk pace. We also, on our final show of 2023, have Billy Brisbane making his NBA season debut right here, which is going to be a lot of fun. He's an incredible capper. Nice to have him back in the rotation. We have Bobano hammering with us, and we're going to get after those afternoon games for you right off the hop. So we'll get into this Gator Bowl, Clemson, Kentucky off the hop. And then we're going to talk Detroit Mercy, IUPUI, and Wright State, Green Bay. Just in case you need a little afternoon action right now. Right now. We're going to hook you up with that. And then we'll go through NHL, 8-game NHL card. Then we'll walk the Sun Bowl, the Liberty Bowl, and the Cotton Bowl. Then we have 6 games on tap for college basketball. I'd love to get to them, but we can't have a 4-hour show. So we've got to move briskly through the first groups of games so that we can get to Kent State, St. Mary's, Washington State, Utah, San Diego State, Gonzaga, Washington, Colorado, Arizona, California, and Arizona State, Stanford. I would sure love to have action on the late slate of college basketball. Then we'll get into NBA with Billy Brisbane. So we have a packed show here for you, and I'm pumped up. I'm really pumped up. I didn't have enough action last night. I understand I'm trying to cut my volume down, but 1-3, it's just not the roller coaster ride I'm used to, and not a successful night either. And I had already faded the Philadelphia Flyers before puck drop against the Canucks. So, look, the Philadelphia Flyers got me. I will attack them again with the Seattle Kraken. I have 4 bets already locked in NHL. I don't have bets in the other spots. I'm looking forward to attack. I'm thankful to be here. Our final show of 2023. Happy New Year's to all of you guys. I'm excited about 2024, and I'm also extremely excited about our poker game this evening. Poker night tonight, and we need signups, and we want to celebrate signups during the show. We have not got, I know a bunch of people who will be signing up. We got a great group. My mom also going to be in action. Dr. Saucy going to be ready to rock. Right now we have Joe T. Joe T put a $25 bounty on his head. There's a $50 bounty on my head, $50 bounty on Slaughter's head. We have Kelly McInnes, Garth Daisy, Joe T, Juan Ruiz, Kay Wolf. Some good poker players in this. We got Big Show, Preston, Ramon Scott, Jose Bouquet, Slaughter, TJ, and we need more. Please sign up. Please sign up. We will celebrate you and reward you with gifts if you sign up during the show. We want you to sign up during the show. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Mr. Vape in the house says, I wanted to drop places. I won't be able to watch for the first hour. Barcelona versus Monaco over 162. Monaco has poor rebounding, more so on defense, but averages 88 at home. Barcelona averages 78 on the road. I love it. Mr. Vape making sure that we got his action ready to fire away. Respect. Viper and B in the house. His van is trash. Yes, it was a bad look on my part, and I apologize. I'm going right back to the well. Fade the Flyers again. And we'll see how it bangs out. Lillard over 24.5. Mikal Bridges over 22.5. Murray over 2.5 threes, and Orlando moneyline. I'm interested in Orlando moneyline as well. Copy and paste. I'm also interested in backing the Blazers after that shellacking they were given by the Spurs. Justin McAfee stacks play today. Memphis over 57.5. Let's get over there. That's the. It's great that we got Bobano here, and we got to move quickly with Bobano. We got to keep the pace up so we can talk a lot about. Well, the main thing I want to do is I really want to aim to get in those college basketball games. Now we don't need to get them all in, but that is my goal. That is what we are aiming to get in. I've copied and pasted that for the Liberty Bowl. Justin McKelvey, my guy. Truth Teller in the house. There's Jansen saying Happy New Year. Jansen Bonson, we've missed you, man. Great to see Jansen Bonson back in business. TJ in the house says, good morning, fam. Cleveland was too easy. And there's Troy Torrance, who smashed Cleveland in every conceivable way. Great job, Troy, my friend. JP just says, Taint, anytime I can fade Tennessee State, it's on. Shout out to Matty Ice. Taint won easily, and Taint is pumped, and Taint will be delivered here this morning. There he is right there, Matty Ice, right there in the house. Great to see you. I love it. And Flea Mathis says, what is bowl season anymore? This is different. That roller coaster ride with Oklahoma, Arizona was unbelievable. I mean, I was certain that Oklahoma was in complete control. They're up 21-13 in the red zone and the pick six, and then they fall apart. They don't just lose, they completely fall apart. It was it was wild. Down 13-0, come back, take it 21-13, lose what would they lose by 35-21, or was it with 35-20? It's just a roller coaster, right? Nuke Worker in the house there. Jay Peasy, Joey Harb, Flea Mathis. We got Christopher Commentini. Jansen says, my only take is Pistons money line on Saturday, playing Raptors at home. Who will be playing the Celtics tonight. Plus Pistons will have a day off tonight. Tomorrow ends the streak. Look at that from Jansen. Ian Shaber in the house. Great to see you. Ian, have you jumped into the poker tournament? We need you in the poker tournament. There's Red Girl in the house. Another 5 in one night. Nice job. Subhuman Gaucho ready to go. There's Razor Sharp Picks. We'll be posting some horses once the scratches come out. Razor Sharp Picks delivering the goods. I don't know if you guys got to roll with his Big A Aqueduct action, but he just destroyed $3,400 pick 3s, 4s, 5s, and he popped that in the chat. He gave it all out to all of us. So incredible job, Razor. You are the man. Great to see all of you guys. We got a lot of work to do. So let's get into it. Smoke and Mirrors in the house. There is Creekman, my guy Creekman, ready to get to work. Saturated. North Ender says UCLA -6.5, 1 play, 1 winner for North Ender. There's Juan Ruiz. He's ready to rock in our poker tournament. There's Joe T. Put a $25 bounty on his head. I love it. Brian Watson, Mel, great to see you. She's been cleaning up on the World Juniors. I love hearing that. Jason Easler, looking forward to some more bowl action. We're going to start with that right now. Subhuman Gaucho, he's got a soccer play of the day, and it is let's pull this all up. Team total over 1.5 parlay for Ipswich and Southampton. That's at plus 104. Let me make sure I got a Subhumans action copied and pasted. All right, we got to get right to work. Sammy Calmer, great to see you. Jay Smooth, Serious Business. Lamont Williams. Well, you saved me, Lamont. That's all I can say. You saved me. You got me off a spot I was planning on betting. I was planning on betting NC State. You got me off of it. That's the extreme importance of what we do as a group together. Troy Torrance, I wish you could play too. Von Polo in the house. Great call on Pistons first quarter, first half. That was a thing of beauty. Kent Davies has to go to a wedding tonight. It's too bad. We love playing poker. We love capping with you in general. Great to see all you guys. So King Seth in the house as well. Nice to see you, King. Von Polo, BT, Philly Eagle Flyer, James Parm, Rodney M. It's a great group. Great group, and we've got to attack. Kong's Clips in the house. Deshaun G ready to get to work. Kelly McInnes. What a group, man. What a great. Andrew G ready to go. Okay, so let's get right to work, and let's get right into it. Thank you guys for being here. We'll mention the poker tournament a few times throughout the day. We really want signups. We really want to make these tournaments special and make them fun. Jose and I will be hosting the live stream right here at 7:45 p.m. And we really want as many people involved so that we can keep having them and keep putting time and energy into them. So please support here. There's our guy, Perky in the house. Great to see all of you guys. And James Parm, now a member of We Be Pubbin'. I love it, James. Thank you for your support. There's Tacky JP ready to go. And let's get to work. And where's our guy? Sorry, I missed Billy Friedrichs. You see, I haven't seen Billy in the chat for a while. You see Billy? There he is, right there. Being sick as hell for days now with COVID. This round is no joke. Sorry to hear that, Billy. Get better. We've noticed your absence. We love capping with you. And Ken Davis says, Jesus, wish you could play poker tonight. Yeah, man. Especially, we have right now with all the additions with the bounties, and we're going to get the prizes that we're waiting on Bell Line for. There's going to be a lot on the line, a lot of action. We're also doing a who can last the longest contest here. And if you want to be involved right now, it's just TJ and I, $50 each. All right, let's get to work and bring on our star of Friday. Dave gets married on December 29th. Von Polo, we must. Oh, look at that. And Matty Ice plan is to play in the poker tournament night. I love that, Matty. I love that. We have a max bet from Lamont Williams on the Celtics minus 7.5. Okay, let's bring on the star of Fridays here on Betting with the Bag. We all love watching him work. And these Fridays have been very profitable. They've been very profitable for me. We work together as a group, and we get so much information from Bobano, and you can use it to cash. And I plan on doing that here this evening. I've already moved on 4 games in NHL, but we're going to start with the Gator Bowl. Please welcome from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's black and yellow. Please welcome Mr. Ian Cameron to the show. Bobano, how are you, my friend?
Very good. Busy Friday. This probably be the busiest Friday we have for a while because it goes back to just a few college games, light NHL slate next week. So, but this will be fun. Let's get to it.
Well, let's get right to work right now. We start at 12 p.m. Eastern. We have the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. Let's get the line history up here and the cash flow and get right to work. We're going to start with the Gator Bowl. Then we're going to go to those 2 college basketball games. Then we will get into NHL. We want to give you the afternoon gambling action that you so deserve in your life. Let's go. Clemson, Kentucky. We're going to use the Pinnacle line history. Just a constant move towards Kentucky. And I wonder, Bobano, if this is just too much. If the Clemson, we know the opt-outs and some injury issues, but we know what's going on with Clemson. But is this, are the backups at Clemson able to get the job done against a Kentucky team that's fallen apart in the second half of the season? We open up at 7. We're down to 3.5. Is this too much? Now, we haven't seen it be too much in most of these bowl games. These market moves have been, correct. This total is at 43.5. It's minus 112 to the under. It's followed the exact same pattern as the opt-outs and as all that information has come in. This opened up at 47 and has dropped down to 43.5. Let's get into the cash flow here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry, I thought. Here we go. Let's get into the cash flow here for the Gator Bowl. And we have 49% of the tickets and now it just switched. Wow. 54% of the tickets and 67% of the cash on Kentucky. Honestly, I mean, who would move on Kentucky at 3.5? I can understand the sharp money coming in at 7, but I'd rather just hear Bobano talk about this. 38% of the tickets and 79% cash on the under. I love also, much love, Lamont. Thank you for rolling with us. Nuke Worker took Kentucky +4. So did Troy Torrance, took Kentucky +4, thinking about the money line. So let's go. 53 Fahrenheit, sunny, 12 miles per hour here at EverBank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. These teams had very different seasons to get here. Clemson comes in off its 4th straight win, 16-7 at South Carolina on November 25th. They were just 4-4 in the ACC, but finished the season strong. Kentucky closed out the regular season by snapping their 2-game losing streak with that, surprise 38-31 win at Louisville. But they opened the season 5-0 before everything falling apart midseason. Clemson dealing with all the opt-outs, but Bobano will answer if they're a team with enough depth to handle this. Kentucky senior Devin Leary struggled mightily against top defenses this year. He struggled against Clemson when he played for NC State. He finished the season completing 56.3% of his passes. You could say that his wide receiver group was bad, or had the highest amount of drop passes in America. I mean, those are legit, I guess. 23 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Senior running back Ray Davis is playing in this game. 2nd straight 1,000-yard season. Finished with 1,066 yards on the ground, 317 through the air with 20 touchdowns. Kentucky was 1-4 as an underdog against the spread this season. Cade Klubnik got off to a rough start this season, but got better as the season went along. Finished the year completing 63% of his passes with 19 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. He'll be missing his second-best receiver, Bo Collins. He's transferring to Notre Dame. But Tyler Brown, Jake Brenningstool, there's weapons there. Take it away for us, Bobano. I'm wondering if this has just gone too far with the spread. Take it away.
It might have, but I don't want Clemson here. There's missing players on the defensive side, especially in the secondary. There's questions. No, I don't want to say they're not motivated because they played well down the stretch, but I just think there's a lot that's going to be missing here for Clemson, especially on defense. Kentucky, look, they've got everybody accounted for. It's going to be almost a full strength Kentucky team. Even Ray Davis, the great running back, expected to play. Someone who's going in the NFL draft, and he's going to be available here for Kentucky. And that's vital for Kentucky because he's been such a huge component of them offensively all season. Their passing game with Leary is not great. So to be able to have this outstanding running back available to them is huge. I moved on Kentucky already. I like it, but I don't love it as much at this number. I mean, I got it back in weeks ago when it was +5, and now you all of a sudden see it now. Threes are starting to pop up here. So I agree with the move, definitely. But you're right. There's a bit of a pump the brakes factor here now that it's down to 3.
Can I get a 3 right now? Let me just take a look at this.
I think I saw a couple books have 3. Yeah, Caesars has a 3.
I'm going to. Okay, it's getting close to a 3. If I wanted to pay for it here, the 3 would cost me -125. I'm not going to do that yet. Let me pull up 365. If this gets down to 3 and the whole world on Kentucky, not one person saying that Clemson has enough depth and a better quarterback, which is arguable, to handle this, then I'll just fucking bet it and deal with the consequences that come. But I won't take it at 3.5. I'll see if it goes all the way down to 3. Okay. Deshaunji saying that DraftKings got that 3.5. So I'll keep an eye on this here. Kent Davies looking at Clemson money line.
Yeah.
We'll see how this bangs out. Bobano got the 5 earlier and wouldn't take it at 3.5 at this point, understandably. So that's the Gator Bowl. So this Gator Bowl pops off in 42 minutes. I'm going to keep my eye on this line, and I'll let you know. And maybe you guys can also let me know. I don't want to pay. Maybe I pay -120, and I don't even want to do that. So we'll see how it drops and then make a decision. What do you think of this total dropping here? Luke Murphy liking the Kentucky team total over 19.5. North Ender is a small bet on the under 45. Says nothing that he's in love with. We've watched this follow the exact same route as the line moved towards Kentucky. What do you think of the total here, Bobano?
Yeah, neither team's going to push pace here on the total. So that's the good thing. I would lean. Well, the problem is at 43.5. I don't like betting unders that low at all, or recommending unders that low. I mean, you're definitely going to get a lot of running the football. That's good for unders. I'm not sure you're going to get a lot of red zone efficiency. Neither team was spectacular, finishing drives inside the 20-yard line. So there's reasons to like the under, and clearly people do.
All right, that is the Gator Bowl. Pops off in 41 minutes. Still time for me to make a decision around it. There's the Sweaty Butcher in the house. Great to see Luke Murphy rolling with us as well. Esteemed author Luke Murphy. What a great group of cappers. So eclectic, and I love the squad. Let's move on to more afternoon action for you. We have a basketball game that pops off in 40 minutes. The Detroit Mercy Titans, combined with the Detroit Pistons, have lost 41 straight basketball games. That's wild. That is so wild. I was telling my brother, I was like, I love watching teams lose and lose and lose. I love it. I don't know why I get such joy out of it, but I also love the city of Detroit and cheer for their teams. And I have compassion for the city. I don't like seeing them lose. I want them to win. But funny. 0-13, 0-2 in the horizon. IUPUI Jaguars are 4-9, but that's not a real record. They're 1-9. Let's not get carried away and look at this 4 number when we've got who have they beat? Oh, they took out Spalding University. They needed overtime to beat Cleary University. They got by Defiance College, all right, but we're going to count those as wins here in their record. Stupid. All right, let's
3 of their 4 wins are non-Division I teams. IUPUI. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, man, it's nuts. I mean, it's Indiana Farmers Coliseum in Indianapolis, Indiana. Let's get into the line history here for this one. I am very interested in Detroit Mercy here. And, I don't know if I can get to the window. But there's a reason why they're favored here at 0-13. They played much tougher competition. They open up at -2. It gets to 2.5. Gets to 3. The initial move was towards Detroit Mercy, and then it's come back. It's come back to a 2. It's basically a 2.5. It's a juiced 2. From a total side of things here, we have it's sitting at 137.5. I guess I should be using Bet Online, especially because of our big Bet Online poker tournament here this evening. But this opened up at 142 at Bet Online and dropped to 137.5. Let's see. I was looking at Pinnacle. I'm just so used to that. But let's take a look at Detroit Mercy's side here. Detroit Mercy, or Bet Online, excuse me, had this open. Same deal, exact same deal. But they never got to 3. They never moved it to 3 like Pinnacle did. So let's take a look at the cash flow then for this one. Again, this basketball game starts in 38 minutes. We have 79% of the tickets and now, 86% of the tickets and 71% of the cash. Well, now I guess you'd want it to move a little more, I guess you could say. And then from a total standpoint here, we have 72% of tickets and 93% of cash on the under. We've seen that monster move towards the under. Mercy comes in off an 83-66 loss at NC State on Saturday. Is 23.5 point dogs. They covered. And IUPUI comes in off that 90-67 win at home over at Defiance College on Thursday the 21st. The only Div 1 school that IUPUI beat was Valparaiso, and that was their first Division 1 game of the year. They've lost 9 straight to Div 1 opponents. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Tricky market, Mercy Titans against the Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, neither of these teams are very trustworthy. That's clear. Neither of them are very good. That's clear. But one thing that is also very clear is the difference in the strength of schedule with these two teams. IUPUI has struggled to one Division 1 win against a very weak schedule. And there's no question about that. I mean, Minnesota's probably the best team they've played. Everyone else has been it's an awful schedule, brutal in terms of the quality of opponents. Detroit, look, they're a winless team. They're 0-13. Obviously, they're not very good either. But you at least see teams on their schedule that were really, really difficult opponents, or at least decent to good competition on the Detroit schedule. NC State, Loyola Marymount's a pretty good team this year. Northwestern's solid. They played Ole Miss, a very good team. Toledo's solid. I mean, at least there's some good competition on the board here for Detroit. So I think when you factor that in, especially when they're coming, and they did cover their game against NC State. In fact, if you look at that last game for Detroit, that was a competitive game at halftime, and then it kind of got away from Detroit in the second half here. So, I like Detroit to get their first win here. I think the fact that you're talking about a winless team favored on the road tells you something. I think also, too, when you look at it, they're not a good offensive team, no question, but it's not like IUPUI is lighting things up. In fact, there's a slightly better offensive ranking for Detroit against a tougher schedule. And then you look at Detroit here on the defensive side of the basketball here. Their defense, 345, but IUPUI's defense is worse, 360 in terms of field goal percentage allowed. And in fact, if you look at it, IUPUI's defensive numbers in multiple categories are worse than Detroit's, even though Detroit's had the tougher schedule, in my opinion. So I think this is telling. I think Detroit's ready to win a game. And if you look at their schedule, if they don't win here, when is that win going to happen for this group? I guess conceivably, their next game after this, Detroit, is against IPFW. But again, the IPFW has been a very good team, 11-2. I wouldn't trust them to win that. I guess Green Bay could be winnable. And then they get into the rest of the Horizon League schedule. And, finding a win is going to be difficult. This is as good a chance as they've got. And I definitely think it's probably going to be a close game. I don't see Detroit winning it easily, but I'm going to back them here to get that first win at -130.
All right, let's lock you in. That was my plan, but I need, I need the market to show some sign. I know that placing them as a favorite is a sign, so don't get me wrong, but I just would like it to be moving in their direction if all the money's on them at this number. Detroit -130 for Bobano. I was hoping to be involved. I'm not going to fade Detroit, so I will stay off here. All right, let's roll on to the next spot on the board. Andrew G says the line is very telling. Yes, the opening line is very telling. But with all of everybody on Detroit, why wouldn't the line, slightly be moving in their direction at that point? So if the line is very telling, but the line's not moving in the direction of all the money, then the line is very sharp. But notice Bobano's taking the money line. It's all legit, and I will cheer for you guys. Red Girl got in on the under. If you got in early on the under, that seems like that's where the market, the books are concerned. I like it. Bobano locked in on Detroit minus 130. We have a game popping off in an hour and 33 minutes. The Wright State Raiders 6-6, 1-0 in the horizon. With the Green Bay Phoenix 6-7, 1-1 in the horizon. We're at the Resch Center. The mighty Resch Center in Wisconsin. Let's take a look at the line history here for this. We have it moving quickly in Wright State's direction. I mean, we have a very offensive Wright State team going up against a very slow-moving Green Bay squad. Wright State opening up at minus 6.5 over at BetOnline. This is moved to 8. By the way, we have a link for the exact same bonus, 100% bonus for new accounts. That's for the poker. That's just for poker. That's not for sports, because we know people have had trouble getting the bonus and then putting money into the poker account. So now we have the 100% bonus up to $1,000 for new accounts. That's just for poker. And we have the 100% bonus for new accounts. That's just for sports. We have two different links now, just in case anybody wants that. I know I'm hooking a friend of mine up here with the poker bonus. So just so you guys know, there's Nate Dogg, 420 in the house. Matty Ice is going to be on Wright State. Let's get into the total for this one. So BetOnline has moved this to 8. And from a total perspective, BetOnline has this at 146.5. This opened up at 148. Got up to 148.5 initially yesterday afternoon. Now down to 146.5. Let's get into the cash flow for this one. 81% of the tickets and 85% of the cash on Wright State, line moving in their direction. And then you have a 54% ticket, 64% of cash on the under. Both teams coming off easy pre-Christmas wins against non-Division I opponents. But Wright State averages 84.1 points per game, while Green Bay just 63.5. Wright State has won neutral sites games this year, but they're 0-3 on the road. Now, look at who they faced. A little different than the Green Bay Phoenix. They lost 105-77 at Colorado State. We know what kind of basketball team they are. They lost 89-80 at Indiana. And they lost 82-73 at Davidson. So the Resch Center on Friday, December 29th at 12 p.m. local time is probably a decent place for them to get their first road win. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Raiders, Phoenix.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they've absolutely destroyed Green Bay in recent meetings. 77-57, 77-46, and 99-67 were the victories for Wright State last year over this Green Bay team. So, but Wright State's not nearly as good this year, and Green Bay's not nearly as bad as they were last year. So the gap has closed a bit. It's just a question of, has it closed enough? You are talking about a Wright State team that's 0-3 straight up on the road, laying a big number on the road now. That's very interesting. And Green Bay, albeit the schedule hasn't been daunting for them in their home games, is 4-1, but they did beat Milwaukee, as a home underdog in a recent home game. Milwaukee's not great, but, it showed you that they played a little bit better here at home. I like the over in this game, quite honestly. Wright State plays extremely fast. I've been riding these overs with this Raiders team much of the season. Cashed multiple overs with them. Wright State against Miami I was on the over in that game. Wright State against Western Kentucky, I was on the over in that game. There were a couple early in the season that I was taking overs with them. Now, the concern here is Green Bay's not a great offensive team. The other concern here is Green Bay plays slow, so it's kind of a pace clash here. Wright State fast. Green Bay's going to want to play in the half court, slow it down. They don't want to run with anybody, but they're not going to get a lot of stops, in my opinion. They're not a great defensive team, and Wright State's a really efficient offensive team, 13th in two-point percentage, 123rd in three-point percentage. They feast in the paint especially, and I think that's definitely where they can do some damage here against Green Bay in this matchup. Like I said, and because of the fact Green Bay plays slower, and Green Bay is not quite as good an offensive and shooting team, you're getting actually a discount with this total, because usually Wright State's in the 150s with their totals. Not the case here. You're getting a nice discount in the 146 range, actually 145.5 at bookmaker. So I'm going to take that number right now. Wright State, Green Bay over 145.5 minus 110.
Okay. Bowman's on the over 145.5 at minus 110. I guess I guess I'm going to end up staying off of this. You know, unfortunately, I wanted to find a way to get on the right state, but I'm a little concerned about how badly they beat Green Bay last year. I love that you talked about how badly
Oh, they
Green
were
Bay got.
eviscerations all 3
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. So, and that's what's so important about this show is you come with you don't need to have a concrete plan necessarily, and in certain sports, I mean NHL, I can come in with a concrete plan. We're going to get into that right now, but okay, I do plan on moving on Clemson. It's still moving in Kentucky's direction. So the -3's at -116 right now at Pinnacle. So I'm wondering if I'm going to give it maybe 8 or 9 more minutes, 10 more minutes to see if I can get -3 at -110. So at least I will have action here and the ability to live bet as the game pops off with you guys. All right, let's get into NHL. Now we're going to get back to college football and college basketball here on the program, but we're going to get into NHL and let's roll. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. And yes, look, I lost badly with the Canucks last night. I'm fading the Flyers again. It is what it is. If you're going to have an angle and stand behind it and bet it, you have to deal with the consequences. And then, it's just transparency with our show. And look, I lost badly. I apologize for to those of you that tailed the action because I was really confident in it. And I'm fading the Flyers again. And I faded the Flyers. So this will be the 4th straight time I faded the Flyers, and I'm up. So we don't. And they're a good hockey team. I just don't think they're as good as their record indicates or how they're being treated in the marketplace. But we can get into that later. Let's get to work right now. New Jersey Devils 18-13-2, 10-5-0 on the road at the Ottawa Senators, 13-17-0, 9-9-0 at home at the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, Ontario. Vitek Vanacek versus Eunice Korpisalo. That may be different, so let me know if I've got the goaltenders wrong. Vanacek 13-6-1, 3.26 goals against average, 885 save percentage. He's been bad. Korpisalo 7-11-0, 3.53 goals against average, 894 save percentage. No shutouts. Rumor out of New Jersey, and I guess you guys could easily put this together, is with this LTIR money from Dougie Hamilton, they're on the hunt for a top goalie, and they're waiting for the teams that are sort of in the mix that are going to fall off and then try to get a goalie here as the season wraps up. It's too bad. Now, I know it's a glaring hole, but it's too bad. And they're going to have a lot of money with the $9 million, especially prorated, thinking over a short period of time. But it's too bad that they can't put all that money into the players. But they're going to have to put the biggest chunk of that money into a goaltender, unfortunately. So it does take a little bit away from that whole angle of what Tampa Bay Lightning did with Kucherov. But Devils coming off a 4-3 overtime win at home over the Blue Jackets on Wednesday night. And we're going to talk about this with Werenski and the Blue Jackets. And I'm not a huge Werenski guy. But the Jackets they lack depth defensively. And what happened when Werenski got hurt was that Good Branson, who's one of the worst defensemen in the league Corsi-wise. I mean, it's Good Branson and Tyler Myers are the for 3 years of being the worst defensemen in the league, had to play 22 minutes. And the Devils took control of that. This is not a good hockey team right now. And I'm not saying they won't end up being a good hockey team, but they're not that good right now. And for me, with these Ottawa Senators, and you know what? I make fun of Kyle Dubas, managing like a fanboy. But if you love a sport, it's impossible not to be a fan of certain players, have some nostalgia for certain things, have a bias with certain players. And Jacques Martin and Danny Alfredson coming behind the bench is the reason why Steve Stais got that job. That is a perfect signing in a perfect dead market to give them some juice and some excitement to this young hockey team led by Tkachuk and Stützle. I know that they've been bad on the road all year, but they're going to make us money now. They're going to make us money, and they're going to make it. Now, I don't know what the hell they're going to do on the road, and I'm not going to vouch for them there at this point. But here at Canadian Tire Center, and it might not happen tonight, but I'm going to be betting them almost every single game as we move forward. Watching Martin Alfie walking up and down that bench, seeing that the respect that they get, the way the players look at them, the players want to fight for them. You have Martin, who's Jacques Martin, who's the hard ass. You have Danny Alfredson, who's the players' coach, who's also not a walkover. I think the Senators are bet on. I got them at plus 104 last night around 8 p.m. So right now, we're going to go back to the Pinnacle line moves. Pinnacle has them at plus 102. They opened up at minus 101. So there's been a slight move towards the New Jersey Devils. And from a total side of things, we are sitting here with a 7. It's minus 120 to the under. It opened up at minus 110 to the under. Take it away, Bobano. First game on the board, Devils, Senators.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the moment this coaching change started, I've been backing Ottawa in some form. I'm starting with the Arizona game. I was on them first period, and unfortunately, full game as well, where they absolutely spit the bed up 3-0 and lost 4-3. That was disappointing. And I was on them first period, mostly first period against Colorado. I had some on the full game, and again, a good start, and then they blew it in the third period, blew a lead there, and that was the issue. Obviously, with DJ Smith, they weren't closing out games defensively. They were not finishing games strong, blowing leads left and right. And first few games with Jacques Martin, the same thing was happening. But Pittsburgh, yes, they blew the lead in that game at home against the Penguins, but they rescued themselves in overtime, winning that game. And I think getting that first win really proved to them that, hey, we're doing a lot of good things here. We're starting games well. We're playing better hockey for extended stretches, and we're just not getting the results. And they finally got a W. They finally got the result they were looking for against Pittsburgh, and it clearly bolstered them against Toronto. And even in after the first period where it didn't start well for Ottawa, no give up, no let up, no quit from that team. They outplayed the Leafs for sure in the last 2 periods of that game and coming back to win 4-2. There's no doubt now some positive vibes, positive momentum is building. And I firmly agree with what you said about Jersey. They're beatable right now. You know, they're not playing spectacular hockey. Their defensive play is still very, very bad at times. Vanacek is not a goalie I can trust one night to the next. His numbers are subpar. I'm with you. I like Ottawa here. And I also like the draw. I have to go to the draw here. There's too much possibility of overtime here. We've seen Ottawa play a lot of close games lately. Jersey just went to overtime the other night against Columbus, the first game back from the break. Both of these teams have been playing some pretty close competitive hockey. 3 of the last 7 New Jersey games have gone to overtime, and the head-to-head series history has really screamed beyond regulation. 5 of the last 8 meetings with these two teams have gone past regulation. So this is going to be Ottawa for me here at the even money price here. We can find Ottawa currently at best price right now is I see plus 102 at Pinnacle with Ottawa, plus 102. So we will lock that in, and we will also go with the draw in this game at FanDuel. I'll mention the price in a minute. I'll just bring it up here.
No worries. Yeah, grab me the price on the draw. Bobano and I are both on the Senators. Let's roll into the next
plus
game.
370.
Oh, plus 370.
Love
beautiful.
That price. Great
plus
price.
370 here. By the way, Bobano's average line this year with the draws is sitting right now at plus 158. Plus 158, which is, you know, higher than it's been in years past. And I'm always interested when I track Bobano's action because he's a high volume.
It's going to be interesting with the NHL because I'm really making a concerted effort where these draws are, you know, we're hitting like 30% with the draws, and it's all you need for profit. So as far as I'm concerned, we're putting these on the ledger this year, and guaranteed, I think it's going to help the bottom line between now and the end of the season when it's all said and done.
Let's roll on. Philly Eagle Flyer on the Sens plus 1.5 and the over 5.5. Loopy is on Kentucky money line. Again, I have North Ender. I will be able to, like, I've got his draws alone. It's just not fair because it's one day a week on Fridays. I mean, it's just not it doesn't make sense to, it doesn't give you an idea of what he's doing overall. If you pick out one game, it's just, one day, of the week. It just doesn't make sense for a high volume capper. I mean,
we're not even at the pinnacle of draw season actually right now. That's the funny thing. There's a lot more overtime games as we get into March and April, and especially those East versus West games where it's teams in the playoff race and they couldn't give a shit that the other team's getting a point because they're in the other conference and they just play for overtime.
Well, the reason why I'm tracking it on a separate spreadsheet is because I believe that the draws will cash at a higher level when it's divisional games.
Yep.
And then in the last 20 games of the year when they're playing for the tie, the main reason why I'm tracking is because I expect it to skyrocket. Divisional games, last 20 games of the year for the draws to skyrocket. So one of the fun things about tracking your friends and your colleagues is that you get to test things out and not have to put your money on the line while it's being tested. But and I love it. I love tracking. You're the most fun capper to track, even though it's time consuming. Okay, let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Nashville Predators 19-16-0, 8-7-0 on the road. Detroit Red Wings 16-15-4, 9-6-3 at home. I made statements about Detroit not being as good as their record indicates, and that's because Dylan Larkin should be considered for the Hart Trophy. He's playing phenomenal. He has to do so much on his own because if Compher, or Kopp is your second line centerman, you're screwed. That's what's going to happen. You can't make the playoffs. You can't. And you're going to bring in Patrick Kane to spark the offense because you don't have a second line. Steve Yzerman, are you cutting corners, Steve Yzerman? It's not like you, Stevie Y, to cut corners. You haven't been doing that, building up this Red Wings team. I don't know why you did that with Patrick Kane. The problem is you don't have an offensive player centering your second line, and it's so crucial. But and also, you guys know, I think the Predators are bet on. And, I think that Luke Shen is so valuable. And they have a real nice defensive core now around Yossi, who's so offensive, even though it looks like he's slowing down a little bit, sadly. So Saros versus Alex Lyon. We have Nashville power play 20.6%, penalty killing 75.9%. Razor Sharp, thank you so much for sending out your action. I copied and pasted, and we popped it up here, your Aqueduct action. Thank you for all of that, giving us your action, all that hard work. I love it here. I love it. Detroit power play 22%, penalty killing 79.8%. Saros has not been very good this year. It's been a surprise. I think of him, at least coming into the year, I was certain he was a top 10 goaltender in the NHL. Maybe he's not. We'll see. 905 save percentage. Alex Lyon, I do not believe those numbers at all. 932 save percentage. Show me with a bigger sample size. The Preds coming off that 5-2 loss at home versus the Canes on Wednesday night. The Hurricanes are such a messed up hockey team. How can you have a defensive hockey team with a bad goaltender? You have to change everything and become an offensive hockey team, which is what they're doing. It's a messed up watching the Hurricanes play right now. The Wings coming off their second straight loss, 6-3 at the Wild on Wednesday. I believe the Predators are bet on, and I think the Red Wings are a fade. So as we move forward, I'll be betting on the Predators, and I will be fading the Red Wings if there's nice opportunities like there is here. Detroit right now is at -110 at Pinnacle. I got in at -105. This line has moved a little bit against me, and that's okay. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Predators, Red Wings.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been more keen on backing Nashville here if it was still James Reimer in net, who's been terrible, just been absolutely awful. Now, he hasn't been helped by the defense in front of him, but I actually think Lyon's a big upgrade right now from James Reimer. Not just a little one, a big one. Alex Lyon led Florida to the playoffs. Without Alex Lyon to the rescue, the Panthers may not have made the playoffs last spring. So this has now been a long enough, to me, you mentioned the sample size. It's actually been a long enough sample size for me going back to his time in Florida last year where he's been very good. I mean, 2.14 goals against, 932 save percentage this season. Last year with Florida, 2.89 goals against, 912 save percentage, 9-4-2 win-loss record. You put it all together for Lyon, and that's pretty good. And to me, he's a lot better right now than James Reimer. So I'm with you, though. It's a good Nashville spot. I wouldn't want to fade Nashville in this spot up to back-to-back losses at home against that just despicable loss for them against Dallas on the weekend. That was just a horrible loss, up 2-1, and they lose the game in the last 15 seconds with 2 goals and lose 3-2 to Dallas. And then, of course, the loss to Carolina, where it was probably one of UC Saros probably would want 1 or 2 of the goals he gave up in that game back a little bit. And we know he's a goalie that's capable of getting the job done off a bad performance. So I have a mild lean to your side, Nashville, but I think with Lyon back in net, this is a better goaltending situation for Detroit. So it's a pass for me in this game.
We have a pass. I got Clemson -3, -114. I'll tweet that out in a little bit. And TJ says IUPUI is the play. -2 is almost across the board with Detroit getting all of the action. IUPUI easy, says TJ. Interesting. I'm not going to flip based on the market here, but I can understand what you are seeing here. Kong's Clip says, Razor, do you have a pick 5 today? Yes, you just take the 5 races of the main pick 5, which is generally the last 5 races on the card. That'll be the biggest pick 5, and those are the horses that he's using in the pick 5. So we have it there. Kongs, did you get his? I can repost it if you need it. Okay, let's rock. Troy Torrance says he is a good friend who only bets hockey. Says Predators a 2-unit play today. Yeah, I bet
I like
this
the spot for them. I do.
I like the Predators.
I like Lyon on net. Unfortunately, I like he's
Yeah.
played really well, and I've lost a couple times going against Detroit with Alex Lyon in net. I'm not willing to do that today.
Well, let's do a little test here for us, Bobano. Alex Lyon, 2.14 goals against average, 932 save percentage. My prediction is this falls apart. 902 save percentage, 2.5 or 6 goals against average. It's Friday, December 29th. Let's do a little test in like 6 weeks, 2 months or whatever, and see where he stands. Let's roll on to the next spot here. Community and new knowledge in the house. It is great to see you. Let's roll up to the next spot. Okay, 7 p.m. Eastern. New York Rangers 24-8-1, 12-4-1 on the road at the Florida Panthers 20-12-2, 10-5-0 at home. Amarin Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida. Shesterkin Bobrovsky. I was looking at my, I go over the spreadsheets. I sit for hours and hours going over, as you're preparing what's working, what's not, and all this stuff. And I barely have action in a certain situation, and that's when 2 good teams are playing each other. It's crazy. I have almost no action this year when 2 good teams are playing each other, and I get it. I'm looking for teams to fade or teams to bet on, and the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers are 2 very good hockey teams. I don't know it's a flip of a coin to me when 2 very good hockey teams are playing each other. Who's going to start? I know that I don't have an angle here, and that's okay, because I'm going to be hammering NHL all year. And I know, especially soon when NFL's out of the way and I'm back on the Low Shack show on Tuesdays, it'll just be, the blinkers will be on. I'll be focusing fully on hockey. Rangers power play at 31.1%, penalty killing 86%. 86% penalty killing with a 31.1% power play. That's a team that can make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, although I have no futures action on them. Florida power play 18 point. Not that I don't want it, but Florida power play 18.4%, penalty killing 83.3%. Rangers coming off their second straight win, 5-1 at home over the Capitals on Wednesday. I was a little worried whether the Rangers, because I want to fade the Capitals as much as possible. I was a little worried if the Rangers were going to come ready to go. They did come ready to go. Panthers coming off their second straight win, 3-2 at Tampa on Tuesday. These are elite hockey teams. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have the Rangers right now at plus 121. How good of a hockey team do you have to be to have the Rangers line opening up at plus 111 and it moved 10 cents in the opposite direction? That's how good the Panthers are. And we haven't seen it yet because they didn't start winning with Montour and Ekblad back. I mean, it takes a little time when you have these 2 key cogs, especially Montour is going to be playing 25 minutes again. From a total standpoint here, we are sitting at 6.5 minus 118 to the under. As you see, 6s everywhere else. This is juice to the under. This opened up at 6 and it's gone up to 6.5 a couple times. Right now it's sitting at 6 minus 118 to the over. Take it away, Bobano, Panthers, Rangers.
Yeah, I like over 6 in this game. It's not just because of the 10 straight overs between these 2 teams head to head, and it's just been 1-4-3, 5-2, 6-3 game after another. And I like Jonathan Quick the way he's played, but this is definitely maybe a little bit of an Alex Lyon for him, where there might be a little bit of a downturn on the way coming for him. But definitely, I think we're going to see goals here. To be honest, Florida has really started to get things rolling a little bit the last few games offensively, the last 2 in particular, in terms of shots, in terms of offensive zone time, in terms of chances generated. They've been a lot better in those departments the last few games. Going back to the Edmonton game, they've really, and it's the goals that didn't always go in. A couple of those games against St. Louis, Calgary, they were held off the scoreboard. But that St. Louis loss against the Blues, that was Joel Hofer, who had another spectacular night when they beat Dallas the other night. So that kid's all of a sudden putting up a couple of great starts in net in a row for St. Louis. So I wouldn't fault Florida too much for that. But yeah, and look, the Rangers are humming offensively right now. It's everybody jumping into the act and contributing for them. They have scored 3 goals or more in 4 straight games, a total of 17 goals in their last 4 games combined. All 4 of those games go over the total. Florida's offense has picked up, and like I said, it's been one over after another between these 2 teams head to head. So especially with this total being 6, it was a absolutely no-brainer decision here. Over 6 minus 115 at Caesars.
You got it. Over 6 at -115. You mentioned Hofer. I was on the Blues on Wednesday. Is Hofer going to be in again? Because I will bet them again, but I don't know. I can't bet them unless I know. And Binnington is there right now, listed.
He's expected.
Expected.
Not
So
confirmed,
I had
yeah.
so I had to stay off because I think things are changing here. Hofer is starting to roll. There's a comment here that I don't have here. Slatsy says, why don't I have it here, Slatsy? Oh, there you go. Rangers won 5 of 6. It's the useless trend of the day for Jimmy. And over 9-0-1 over the last 10 meetings. Beautiful. Ian Shaber, I'm sorry that you had to do that.
I wouldn't be laying I'd lean Rangers. I wouldn't be betting Florida after the back-to-back big wins against Vegas and Tampa. Those are 2 big-time opponents for them. Not a great Florida spot, but I like Florida the way they're playing. So, but I would lean Rangers.
Sorry, but good. That's very helpful info. At this number, I get it. Ian Shaber is now in on the poker tournament. So thank you so much. He had to forfeit the bonus to send it over to the poker account. So if you guys want, we now have the link for the same bonus for new accounts, 100% up to $1,000, but it's only for poker. You won't be able to switch that over to sports. You got to keep the two separate. But thank you, Ian Shaber, in the poker tournament. So Ian Shaber, if you come to San Antonio, we have a prize pack waiting for you and a pickup. At the airport from Jose. And I will be there unless I'm shooting. Let's roll on. Over 6 -115 for Bobano. I got to speed this up. You just know how much fun I have talking hockey, but we've got bowl action and college basketball action after this. 7 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Maple Leafs 17-9 and 6, 8-3-4 on the road at Columbus Blue Jackets 11-18 and 7, 7-10 and 3 at home at Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. It's too bad that Werenski's gone because the damn Blue Jackets were a gift. They were this perfect spot. They were this diamond that we were going to make so much money off of. They're much better than their record indicates. That second line, the all-Russian line, is really good. And now you're going to have Goodbranson playing 20 minutes. You're going to have Provorov playing 28 minutes. It's too bad. It sucks. I was so angry. I was about to cash a plus 220 against the Devils before Werenski got hurt. And now, and I don't know if it's going to lead to more offense because you're going to have to. Provorov can't really step up in the rush if he's playing 28 minutes a game. We know that Goodbranson can't do anything offensively, so it might lead to less scoring, even though this is such an offensive group. Slatsy says Samsonov is a gift to the over. The Toronto power play 25.5%, penalty killing 79.4%. Samsonov 3.79 goals against average, 871 save percentage, 1 shutout. He's seeing a shrink here in Toronto to try and get through his issues. I would love to be in that room. Columbus power play 14.9%, penalty killing 82%. They're coming up the third straight loss, 4-3 in overtime at the Devils on Wednesday. The taint play of the day is in. It is in right now. South Florida -14.5. I'm going to copy and paste that. We got taint, Juan. We got taint, so we'll be talking about that throughout the game. Let me give the line history here. I'm not on this spot, but honestly, it sucks because looking at that defense and looking at the time that they're playing now without Werenski, I would love to fade Columbus, but they're just not a team I want to fade. Under 7 at -119 is the total. This opened up at 7 at -116, so there's been a 3-cent move to the under at 7. And then from a money line spot here, you have the Leafs -204. They opened up at -200. And the floor is yours, Bobano. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to look for a live over. I certainly would lean that way with these two teams tonight. I mean, I definitely think we're going to see some goals, but 7, what I often do is when the total's like this, I'm just going to wait for a live opportunity rather than bet it pregame. And then as far as the side goes, Toronto just beat them in Columbus, but Columbus won in Toronto. It's weird. The third time in like 3 weeks these same two teams are playing, and now it's back-to-back in less than a week. The same two teams playing in the same building here in Columbus. But Columbus is playing hard. They just have defensive lapses at the worst time, and we saw that against the Devils. How do you let Luke Hughes do that? Go end to end and nobody lays a body or stick on him or anything. to impede his progress, and he goes coast to coast there for the tying goal. And then, of course, Jersey wins it in overtime. The draw, I'd certainly lean to that here in this game, but there are other draws maybe I would look at a little bit more. Although I know what, let's actually make the draw official, because I'm looking at my past history here. There's actually been a lot of close games with these two teams, and we know in Toronto they went to OT just recently, and you got Columbus off a frustrating loss. They're going to bring it. Toronto off the loss against Ottawa, where they had that bad last two periods, are going to bring it. So I actually think it's a competitive game, and Toronto has the potential to win this, but with Ilya Samsonov in net, who is struggling mightily, I have my doubts Toronto's going to pull away and win this by margin, which to me keeps this a close game and keeps the draw very much live. So especially with the price I'm seeing, yeah, let's go ahead and make that official. Draw plus 420 at FanDuel.
420. Sweet numbers. You've got it locked in. Maple Leafs, Blue Jackets draw for Bobano. We move on to the next spot on the board, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Two teams that I want to fade so badly. So badly. Washington Capitals and New York Islanders. I was bullish with the Penguins 2 days ago, and it was a close game before a questionable goal went in, and then the floodgates opened up. That happens so often, but 7-0 win. Capitals come off that 5-1 loss at the Rangers. I was beating myself up for not fading them. I was just concerned with the break, whether Rangers would be ready to go. Charlie Lindgren, 7-3-3, 2.29 goals against average, 928 save percentage, 2 shutouts. The real reason why I was angry was because during the show, Slatsy came in and told us that Kemper was confirmed. And that's the whole idea. Was not only are they well coached, the Capitals, and they're getting a lot out of their team, but Lindgren's been very good. When I heard that Kemper, I should have just stopped everything and then said, okay, let's move on to Rangers, and I didn't. Disappointing. The Islanders goes back to the very first angle I brought. It's a simple angle. It's not mine or anything, but when two of your top four defensemen are out of the lineup, you fade. Pelech and Pulock, maybe you could say Dobson's their best defenseman, but Pelech and Pulock are so important to the defensive side of things for the Islanders. You take him out, you take Scott Mayfield out, it's a problem. This is not about the Islanders being a bad hockey team. It's about missing those crucial stay-at-home defensive defensemen. Washington power play 12.1%, penalty killing 82.2%. Islanders power play 24.2%, penalty killing at 71.8%. Sorokin 3.27 goals against average, 909 save percentage. You better watch out, or Varlamov will take your job. We've already seen it happen to Kemper with Lindgren. Capitals coming off that loss. We just discussed that. Let's go into the line history and hand it over to Bobano. We have the Capitals at plus 133. And I don't want to make things black and white, but I don't expect to bet the Capitals one time all season. This is plus 139 down to plus 133. There's been a slight move in their favor. And then the Islanders are down to minus 147 at Pinnacle. They opened up at minus 157, so it's been a 10-cent move away from them. When they get their defenseman back after a few games, because we saw it not really help the Panthers right away, so maybe we'll give it a few weeks, but then they'll maybe be bet on. But this is a fade. They're both just fades, so nothing for me to do. This total opened up at 5.5, juice to the over at minus 118. It's still there at the exact same spot. Take it away, Bobano. Capitals, Islanders.
Yeah, draw on the over for me in this game. Both. Islanders, that's what we've been doing. We're going back to draw Island, plus 360 with the draw here in this game. Obviously, the Islanders have been one of my favorite draw bets of the year. Now, they have had back-to-back games where they have not gone to overtime against Carolina, and obviously they got absolutely drilled by Pittsburgh 7-0 on Wednesday night. But I don't think they've had more than 2 consecutive games for a very long time that haven't gone to overtime. So they're due for one, and this probably should be an overtime candidate. These two teams just played each other 9 days ago in Washington. It went to overtime, a 3-2 Capitals win in that game. So I think it's got great overtime potential. Islanders are going to want to bounce back after that drubbing against Pittsburgh. And I think Washington's going to want to step their game up. 2 straight losses for them against Tampa and the Rangers. So they'll be looking to bounce back. So I love the draw here, plus 360. Definitely live. And I'm also going to take a shot, though, over 5.5. We've talked about this Islander defense for, I think, multiple NHL shows I've been on. Every NHL show I do these days, I talk about how it's just not a team that's playing that same airtight defensive game. Sorokin's not nearly been as good, but they're scoring more. That's kind of been the Islanders' MO this year. They picked things up offensively. So we'll also go with over 5.5, minus 116 at Bet Rivers.
You are locked in. Big Show picks in the house. He is signed up for our poker tournament. I love it. A big show. We've had Ian Shaber sign up for us. I love it. 14 players right now. I want 50 tonight. I know a bunch of people who are still going to sign up this afternoon, but it would calm me to see 25 here by the end of the show. At least 20. Let's get to 20. We've had Ian Shaber sign up during the show, sitting at 14 signups, bounties, prizes, and the live stream as well. Deshaun G looking at Washington money line. I get it, Deshaun, I get it, but I just don't want to be involved with either of them. 8 p.m. Eastern, Colorado Avalanche 21-11-3, 7-7-3 on the road at St. Louis Blues 18-15-1, 11-5-0 at home. We have the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri here, a place that we make so much money. So much money. It's not going to change. They're undervalued in the marketplace, and I want to bet them here. I just won't do it with Jordan Binnington between the pipes. It just doesn't make sense. Tony Trill just got back in the stream. Where's the poker sign up? I may show up. I love it, Tony. I love it. Tony, just go to, Bet Online. Go to their poker section. If you need a new account, we have one for sports and one for poker. They'll both give you a bonus up to 100%, but you can't switch them. And just go to if you already have an account there, just go to the tournament. Tournaments, real money. You'll see us at 8 p.m. tonight. It's a private tournament. You need a password. That password is Pub Sports 2024. Pub Sports in capitals. Pub Sports 2024. It's a private tournament just for us. Okay, let's roll on to the next spot on the board. Nate Dogg Blues money line and the over full game. We have Alexander Georgiev and Jordan Binnington listed. Colorado power play 24.6%, 83.5% penalty killing. St. Louis 11.1% power play, 79.4% penalty killing. There's certain angles that just must be focused upon when betting NHL and defeating NHL. And I know I'm only sitting here plus 0.96 units, but I have a history of beating the NHL. And look at the Colorado Avalanche, 21-11-3. But they're just 7-7-3 on the road. They've won 7 of 17 games in regulation. If you faded the Colorado Avalanche on the money line in every single road game, you're rich. The Blues are 11-5-0. They have home games against weak teams like the Coyotes where it's a pick 'em. The market doesn't understand that they're a better team than that, especially with Drew Bannister as the coach. Not that I love Craig Berube, and it was not his fault at all. I love him. But Drew Bannister, it's a new voice. Sometimes you just need a new voice, and he's an accountable dude, and he's getting a lot out of this hockey team. Blues coming off their third straight win, 2-1 at home over the Stars on Wednesday night. It was a great casher for us, a plus 147. The Avs had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 5-4 overtime loss at Arizona on Wednesday night. I would have already bet the Blues if I thought Hofer was going to be in net. I hope that they decide to try and run with the hot hand. Doesn't look like they are, and Binnington's probably earned that, I guess. The over 6.5 opened at minus 116, it's now minus 122, 6 cents of movement in that direction. And from the money line spot here, we have the Blues sitting at plus 147. Wow, that's the exact same number I had them against Dallas. Opened up at plus 143. Take it away, Bobano. And we have 3 games left before we get into the 2 o'clock bowl games, the rest of the bowl games, college basketball. Take it away for us here, Bobano. We have Blues Avalanche.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was not possible for me with Arizona and the draw the other night against Colorado when they got down 4-0. But sure enough, the Coyotes end up roaring all the way back and find a way to tie it and then win in overtime. What a spectacular comeback by the Coyotes, but also an equally bad falling apart and collapse by the Colorado Avalanche. So depending on which way you want to look at it, I ain't laying a price with Colorado on the road. Not a chance. And you hit on a lot of what I've been looking at with Colorado lately. I don't want to back this team away from home. They're 7-11 on the road. And look, Tampa Bay's another team in the East where I've been fading them on the road. I don't trust these teams on the road right now. There's been a noticeable difference in their level of play, home to away. And Colorado has shown that. They lose to Arizona in overtime, blowing a 4-0 lead. That's not a team you want to lay a price with on the road. They lose 3-2 to Chicago. That's not a team you want to lay a price with on the road. To me, this is Blues or nothing. I'm with you. I kind of like the Blues more with Joel Hofer right now than Jordan Binnington, especially with the way Hofer's played at this point in time. But with the spirit, with the energy we're seeing from the Blues, with, their blue lines playing collectively better, more structure, their offense has exploded in these recent games for Drew Bannister. And it really all starts with Jordan Kyrou, who has been like a different player here since the firing. So I think when you look at this matchup here, I can't turn down taking a price like this with the Blues, who have played well since the coaching change, and a Colorado team that's just out of sorts, out of sync, not playing winning hockey, consistent 60-minute hockey on the road. And certainly that Arizona loss was evident. Now, is there a worry? You lose a game like that and you just want to come out and you've got fire in your nostrils tonight if you're Colorado, and you bounce back strong and you play that complete game. And if you do, you're still probably better than St. Louis, of course. But I just haven't seen enough of it. And the Blues are playing obviously a lot better, and they're getting that coaching change bump right now. Their offense has picked it up, and at this price, they're live to me in this game. So plus 146, Jimmy, with St. Louis at FanDuel.
Okay, we can get you plus 147 because that's the same.
All right, excellent.
Get you that one right there. Bobano on the Blues plus 147. I like it. I like it. I just need hope. I've got enough action right now in NHL, and I can't handle it. I can't handle when you've got the right side and your team lets in a weak goal. I can't handle it. I have to get up and I have to go for a walk, and I'm filled with rage. 8 p.m. Eastern, Chicago Blackhawks 11-22-1, 4-13-0 on the road. Dallas Stars 29-4, 10-5-1 at home. American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. We have Mrazek versus Wedgewall. Still waiting at this point for Ottinger. Chicago power play 12.3%, penalty killing 75.2%. Dallas power play 21.7%, penalty killing at 86.9%. Blackhawks snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 2-1 win in overtime at home over Winnipeg on Wednesday night. The Stars had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 2-1 loss to the Blues on Wednesday. I will fade any team with Matt Duchene and Tyler Seguin on it after any kind of break for the rest of my life. I don't trust them being, they may have been locked in. Like it's just something I've done throughout their whole careers. And that's also fueled with some negativity towards those two guys. My negativity towards Jimmy Benn is going away a little bit. He's changed his game. He's playing a lot. He's a tough guy now who can still score. And my negativity has gone away a little bit towards him, but still fresh for Seguin and Duchene. This line, Dallas at minus 378. They were snake bit against the Blues and Hofer. Open up minus 365, now minus 378. And from a total perspective here, we have it sitting at 6, minus 113 to the over. Opened up at 6, jumped up 6.5, dropped down to 6. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Blackhawks, Stars.
Yeah, I mean, the Blackhawks have been very good at home. Can they bring it with them on the road is the big question here. That's been a little bit of a problem for them. But at home, this Blackhawks team, we've seen what they've done. I mean, they took Vancouver to the wire. It was a close game there, battled the Canucks tough. They get wins against Colorado and Winnipeg, on home ice. But going on the road now and duplicating those efforts is the challenge, because we've also seen lately on the road, they lose to St. Louis 7-5. They get destroyed by Seattle 7-1. Edmonton beats them 4-1. So they have had issues as far as being able to play that well away from the United Center. Dallas with the 2-1 loss against St. Louis, but that's twice they've lost to St. Louis, by the way, this month. But again, they faced St. Louis since the coaching change both times. So you don't really fault them for that. They are still 5-2 in their last 7 games. They've played a lot of close games. So, I did consider the draw. I might sprinkle on the draw here, but there's others I like more than this game here as far as the draw is concerned. I'm waiting to see who's in net here, Mrazek or Soderblom. I like the over, especially if Soderblom's in net. I think I still like it a little bit if it's Mrazek in net. Mrazek's been very good lately in a couple of these games for Chicago, so I do get a little more concerned if he's in net. But I will make it official with over here, Jimmy, at 6. I think it's a good look with Dallas off the 1-goal effort against St. Louis, where they ran into a pretty good goaltending performance from Joel Hofer. I think Dallas bounces back offensively at home, and I think Chicago can chip in a little bit with Wedgwood in net for the Stars. So I like over 6 here, minus 120 at DraftKings.
You are locked in, my friend, and Binnington is confirmed. Thank you, Coin. Binnington is confirmed. And I'm not going to want to – I don't know what I'm going to do with the Blues Penguins tomorrow night. I was hoping to do that here with the Avs.
Actually, over 6, minus 114 at Pinnacle. Let's go with a little better price with that.
Beautiful. All right, let's roll on to the next spot, 10 p.m. Eastern. Arizona Coyotes 18-14-2, 6-9-2 on the road at the Anaheim Ducks 13-21-0, 6-12-0 at home. I was thinking this today, and this is and I know it's just like make-believe dumb, but I'm not joking. if Arizona, the Coyotes, with this roster, played the Anaheim Ducks with Drysdale, Zegras, and McTavish in Anaheim, in a 7-game series with all games in Anaheim, and Anaheim was a slight dog like they were opened here, I would take half of my bankroll and I would bet on the Ducks to win that series. I would be fine not betting any other game during that time. I would take half my bankroll and I would bet on the Anaheim Ducks to win the series. This is a mistake. The Ducks, remember what they looked like at the very beginning of the year. Then they lose Zegras, who wasn't playing very well, but then they lose McTavish, who I keep saying will be a center on Team Canada next year in the Olympics. And they lose Drysdale. This is a mistake. The Coyotes have won 6 of 17 games on the road in regulation. We hammered against them when they came to Enterprise Center as a pick'em. The Ducks, with this roster at home, will win more games than they lose against the Coyotes. And look, they may not win tonight. I think they're going to win tonight. I bet them to win tonight. But I truly believe that if I had the opportunity in this situation, I would take, and I would take half my bankroll and go for it with the Ducks. But I just bet them for $250 here, which is a little smaller. But Arizona power play 23%, penalty killing 78.9%. Anaheim power play 21.5%, 79.9% penalty killing. The Coyotes come off their 5th win in 6 games, 5-4 in overtime at home versus Avalanche on Wednesday. At home they're a bet on. They're a bet on hockey team. On the road, I just went over their numbers. The Ducks coming off snapping their 2-game losing streak with an impressive 5-2 win at home over the Knights on Wednesday. Now, do you not want to back a team after a big win like that? That's a legit situation. But I think the market is wrong. So I have to bet them. I have to keep betting the Ducks, especially at home in situations like this. And the fact that they're 6-12 at home and 13-21 on the year, I pray will keep them from kind of feeling good about themselves after that victory. So let's get into the line history here for this one. We have the total here has moved to, big move towards the under. This was at 6.5 a little while ago. It's now at 6 and just minus 104 to the under. Wow. A huge move. We have 6.5 at other. Oh, no, it's all 6. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing there. It's all 6. Oh, no, it is. Shit, sorry. So 6.5 minus 120 at Will Hill. Minus 120 at my bookie. It's at 6. Almost a pick 'em there. Ingram confirmed. Ingram's a good goaltender, but Gibson needs to step up, and I expect him to do that here. Cool. Bobano will be back here in a few minutes. So, look, I'm on the Ducks at plus 120. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. This is our final spot in NHL. Philadelphia Flyers 18-11-4, 10-4-3 on the road at Seattle Kraken 13-14-9, 6-8-3 at home at Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. Carter Hart going up against Joey Decord. Hart 9-6-2, 2.62 goals against average, 9-13 save percentage, 1 shutout. Decord has been really good. And you can have a 9-12 save percentage on the Kraken and be excellent because of the now Drieger has not been healthy for the last couple of years. Maybe if he could get healthy, he has a chance. But Grubauer has been straight trash. Philadelphia power play 10.6%. And look, I bet this before the puck dropped against the Canucks. And now it looks better, just because just because the Flyers won. But the Kraken coming off their 3rd straight win, 2-1 at Calgary on Wednesday. Now they've won 3 straight road games, but you don't need to worry about that being a really great road trip that they're coming home to, because that was broken up by Christmas. So it wasn't a road trip. They came home, then they went back out on the road again and won again. I'm on the Kraken here against the Flyers, and I will continue to fade the Flyers, and we'll see, how it works. I know a lot of people think it's a mistake, and they tell me that every time I fade the Flyers. This total opened up at 6. It's moved to 5.5. And from a money line standpoint here, money line, we have it's moved a cent. Now, I bet this before it was available at Kraken. At Pinnacle. I bet this before it was available. Pinnacle is a book that has some concern about when they put lines out, and I get it. It's not moved. It's not moved at all. It opened up at minus 131, still at minus 131. The Kraken might be, they might be a bet on team as we move forward. I have to see that. I mean, they have only won 6 of 17 games at home in regulation, so I'll have to see that moving forward. But I have moved on both these final 2 games, Bobano. I'm on the Ducks at plus 120, the Kraken -1 at plus 124. What are your thoughts on these 2 spots? And then we'll move into the 2 p.m. bowl game, the Sun Bowl.
Yeah, as far as the you mentioned Anaheim, Arizona a moment ago. We'll start with that one. I'm with you on Anaheim. I think that's a good bet against spot for Arizona coming off the look. You talk about how Anaheim had the big win against Vegas, so it could be a little bit of a tough spot to have another good game like that this time around. But you could say that about Arizona. They just came back from 4-0 down against a team that won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago and beat them 5-4. So to me, it's an even more dubious spot for the Coyotes here. Anaheim's getting healthier. You can see it. Now, Vegas has not been playing great, but still, to beat Vegas 5-2 like that, that's impressive. They've got Mason McTavish back, Trevor Zegras back. Jamie Drysdale, no one talks about that guy enough. He is very good. He is finally healthy. He's back on this blue line. There's such a better blue line with Jamie Drysdale. This guy's going to be like a linchpin defenseman for Anaheim for a very long time. It makes them a lot better. I think it's a nice little momentum builder, getting these guys back, now getting a win against a good team. I think they can carry that momentum here into this. So I'm with you. And it's a little bit of a tricky spot for an Arizona team off a big comeback win at home and now going on the road where they haven't been very good. So I definitely like Anaheim here. Plus 116 at Pinnacle. Probably also going to look at this over here. I will. Over 6 minus 108 with Anaheim and Arizona as well. And the draw. Can't avoid the draw with the series history being what it is. We've seen lots and lots of games go past regulation in recent head-to-head meetings with the Coyotes and the Ducks. So I'm on the plus 360 with the draw as well at FanDuel. And then for Philadelphia, Seattle, we'll see who's in net for the Flyers. We got to assume it's Carter Hart on the back-to-back. Chris Drieger makes his first start in forever for Seattle the other night against Calgary, and he was absolutely spectacular. So you're not the first person I've heard that says we got to fade Philly right now. They're overrated. They're overvalued. There's other people I know, good hockey bettors I know, that feel that same way. But, you are talking about getting a plus 110 price, and you're talking about a minus 130 price with a Seattle team that, yes, while they've won 3 in a row, they've been doing it on the backs of goaltending. They've been doing it on the backs of getting outplayed in a lot of these games. And I don't know if winning the way the Kraken have been winning these last few games is sustainable. They needed Joey Decord to make 40 saves when they beat LA. They needed Chris Drieger in his first start in 2 years to make almost 40 saves the other night to beat Calgary in a game that they were outplayed. So, that's kind of playing along a slippery slope that you just cannot maintain that long-term moving forward. So to me, the Flyers Kraken game's very, very tricky as far as I'm concerned here. So I'm passing on that one.
I got the Kraken -1 at plus 124, and I'm really excited about where we stand in NHL right now. And I can't wait. I mean, I can't wait because I love NFL, but I'm looking forward to, be on the Peter Loshak show on Tuesdays and start really hammering NHL more so. But one thing you can count on for me, I'll be betting NHL every day. So as we move forward every single day, show or no show. So, just follow me on Twitter and I'll put my action there. Rodney Barnes says IUPUI coming out hot. Lexicon says Chechia scored at 3-2. Tori Coker in the house. Nasty Nate just signed up for the poker tournament. Thank you, Nasty Nate. And Slatsy says Konechny left last night's game with an illness that was in the Flyers dressing room at Christmas. Urson left last night with dehydration. Hart should be in. All right, there you go. Let's review NHL very quickly and then get into the bowl games. By the way, Clemson up 3-0, have the ball back, live spread at 5.5, live total at 43.5. And I moved, as you guys saw, I moved on Clemson once it got to 3. All right, in NHL. And so on Wednesday, you saw the spots that C-Mac and I were both on together, and we destroyed that card. So just as you're watching, watch the times when Bobano and I are on the same spot together, and I would guarantee you that the ROI will be higher than my other spots. And we saw that on Wednesday with C-Mac. And the reason why it doesn't happen that much with Gokster is just because he bets very differently than me. I love the way Gokster bets, but he's just, it's great seeing different ways to succeed. And he just, he does the same game sort of parlays and stuff like that, which I love, but you don't see it as often with us. Sometimes on the money line you do. So we're both on the Senators, and Bobano is on the draw. I'm on the Predators. You stayed off Predators wings? Why
Oh,
do I
me?
think?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Bobano's on the over 6 in Rangers, Florida. Bobano's on the draw in Leafs, Columbus. Bobano's on the draw in Washington Islanders in the over 5.5. Bobano's on the Blues at plus 147. Bobano's on the over 6 in Chicago, Dallas. Bobano and I are both on the Ducks. Bobano's on the over 6 at minus 108 and the draw in Arizona, Anaheim. And then I'm on the Kraken -1. All right, let's get into the Sun Bowl, and we've got to work really quickly here because it looks like we'll have enough time to get into these 6 college basketball games. So Bobano has not only put these videos out here on Pop Sports Radio, but now he's had the chance to sit with that information here for 8 or 9 days, or for what? I guess 2 weeks, right? Week and a half. Yeah, week and a half. And that's the perfect spot for a capper. So we're just going to really let Bobano run here. I'm just going to set the table and cut my breakdowns out of it. We'll talk about the market moves and things like that. And then we'll get into college basketball together. So let's go to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. We have the Oregon State Beavers 8-4 versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 9-3. We're in El Paso, Texas for this one. Let's get into the line history here for this. Move over here and get the cash flow up over here for NCAAF. And we will roll. Oregon State, Notre Dame. This opened up here with Notre Dame as 10.5-point favorites. And then, they have players transferring in, but obviously the mass exodus changed this as well. Let's go to Bet Online 2 here. Bet Online has this opened at 10.5 too. Not only that, but this went to 12 initially at Bet Online. So just, a monstrous move towards the Beavers. So Beavers have gone from plus 10.5 all the way down to plus 5.5. From a total standpoint, we have this sitting at 39.5. It opened up at 46. So we've had a very similar thing that happened in the Clemson game here. And then from a cash flow standpoint, we have 63% of tickets and 71% of cash on Oregon State. And from a total standpoint, you have 74% tickets, 77% cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Oregon State Beavers, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas.
So Notre Dame is not backable for me. I am on Oregon State. I'm contemplating whether I want to take it now because I'm seeing this line is just plundering right now. Because I got 7.5 on this, and this was probably a couple of weeks ago. It's 5 now across the board. So there's money still coming in right now on Oregon State in this game, but it's the only side I could back. Notre Dame's got, I think, their entire 11 of their 12 starters and top players on offense have either transferred or have opted out for this bowl game for Notre Dame, including, of course, Sam Hartman. Steve Angeli's going to get the start. They like the kid. He's played a little bit, and he's been decent in minimal duty. But, again, for a start, we'll see. That's a lot of their offense out. Estime, the running back, a lot of their O-line, and these are NFL draft caliber O-linemen, including the left tackle, Joe Alt, who's expected to go very high in the draft. These are all guys that are out for Notre Dame. Not to mention they've got a coordinator change. Now, it's not smooth sailing for Oregon State either. They've got coaching upheaval. Jonathan Smith, of course, left, the head coach. He's now going to be at Michigan State as the head coach there. There's some opt-outs as well for Oregon State, but not nearly as detrimental, in my opinion, as for Notre Dame. And they have a guy in their starter. Now, you could argue how good he is because, he's been a game manager. He's relied on a pretty good defense, a good run game. Ben Gulbranson, who's going to be the quarterback here for Oregon State. But, he's been with this program a while. He knows the system. That's probably a plus here for Oregon State going into this game. So I bet Oregon State a couple weeks ago, +7, or actually +7.5. And it's down to 5, 4.5. But I do think there's potential they win this game outright. So let's make it official, Jimmy. Let's go. I don't want to. I just think there's a lot more going in Oregon State's favor here in this game. And certainly I think enthusiastically, not that Notre Dame is, and because sometimes you got to watch out for this, and the one concern is we saw this with USC. Thought they're a little disheveled, demoralized, not interested. A lot of backups in the game. Well, when you're USC, your backups are pretty good. And they showed it against Louisville the other night. And maybe Notre Dame's backups are really good. Maybe Angeli plays a great game at quarterback here. But I'm not convinced the level of talent that is going to be on the field for Notre Dame from a backup standpoint, especially on offense, is going to match what we saw from USC in the Holiday Bowl the other night. So I will still move forward with Oregon State here, and we'll take them now. Wow, there's not even any sixes anymore out there at the moment. Let's go with the plus 5.5 minus 115 at BetMGM.
You got it. Bobano moving on Oregon State plus 5.5 at minus 115. And Matty Ice loving this move towards Oregon State. It says Notre Dame's still going to roll these guys. DC Capper on Oregon State, and Wine Time Sports also thinks Oregon State money line. He's got them plus 6.5 and has sprinkled a money line on this one. All right, let's roll on to the next spot on the board. This one pops off in 3 hours and 3 minutes. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Memphis Tigers 9-3 versus the Iowa State Cyclones 7-5. We're at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee. And Justin McKelvey has already given us the over 57.5 as the stacks play of the day. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We'll start with the side. From a side standpoint, over at Penny, we have Iowa State as 10.5 point favorites. They opened up at -7. They got to -9 within, less than 12. Oh, no, sorry, almost 24 hours. 24 hours later, it was a 2-point move to the 9. Since then, it's gone to 10.5. It was at 10.5 this morning. There was a slight, there was. Sorry, there was a slight drop down to 10 and then back at 10.5. And it's juiced to Memphis right now at the 10.5. So we have a big move towards the Cyclones from a total side of things here. Oh, shoot, I don't need to do this. I got it up here. My bad. From a total side of things here, we're dealing with a 59.5 juiced to the under at -117. This opened up at 57.5. So we've climbed up, but now it's juiced to that under. So giving you a nice number on the over. Well, a nice VIG on the over. And from a cash flow standpoint, we have 15% of tickets and 21% of the cash on the under. And from a spread standpoint, you have 47% of tickets and 70% of the cash on these Cyclones. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Memphis, Iowa State.
Memphis has been an over machine for this season. I've been on a bunch of them, and I'm on another one here. The side's tricky. I don't feel comfortable laying this many with Iowa State. I lean Iowa State because I do think they're the much, much, much better defensive team. But even Iowa State's defense, I think, is going to give up some points here. Memphis does have a very good offense. Seth Hennigan and that offense is very good. If you actually look at Iowa State late in the season, they gave up points to some of the better offenses they played. 35 allowed to Kansas State, 28 allowed to Kansas, 26 allowed to Texas, 50 to Oklahoma. So when they played better, more explosive offenses, they did struggle a bit more. The question is going to be, can Iowa State's offense do enough here against Memphis's defense? And I think Memphis's defense is that bad. They haven't been able to stop really anybody with a pulse offensively this year. Yeah, they were good against Temple in the last game, but Temple's had a lot of weird results here as far as offensive is concerned. So I think Rocco Becht with the bowl practices, he's going to be better prepared, and I think you're going to see him play a good game. He's not a great quarterback, but he definitely played better down the stretch for Iowa State. And I think against one of the weaker defenses he's probably seen all year, he's going to be able to do some damage here. So this is another Memphis over for me, over 58.5 -108 at DraftKings.
And you are aligned with Stacks. You're aligned with DC. Bobano is on the over 58.5. What was the juice?
-108.
-108 for Bobano. All right. Pace is great. We're going to get all this in. This is great. 8 p.m. Eastern. This is our final bowl game of the day, the Cotton Bowl Classic. Now, actually, we might have a couple minutes, so we can ask Bobano if there is a best bet he has on the Saturday card. But let's go. Cotton Bowl Classic here. Missouri Tigers 10-2 versus the Ohio State Buckeyes 11-1. We're at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. So let's take a look at the line history here. First off, this total is move over here. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. This total is sitting at 50 right now, -107 to the under. Opened up at 49. Very little movement on this total. All we've seen is it go up from 49, and it didn't move to 50. stuck at 49 for weeks. Moved to 50 this morning at 9:47 a.m. So it appears that that's a sharp number. Then here from, I thought I got this. Sorry. Then from the spread scenario here, we have these Buckeyes sitting as 4.5 point favorite. Now they're 5.5 market wide. It's 4.5 here at Pinnacle. Ohio State opened up at -2.5, and then it dropped to -1. So this was then. This is back now. We're talking, 3.5 weeks ago. It moved to +1, then it moved to +2. This was a +2.5 12 days ago. At that point on, it's been all Ohio State. We've moved this all the way to -4.5. So there's been a 2-point move from the opener. When we get to the cash flow here on this one, we have 61% of the tickets and 78% of the cash on Missouri. Interesting. And total wise, we have 78% of tickets and 84% cash on the over. Take it away for us here, Bobano, the Cotton Bowl Classic, Missouri, Ohio State.
So we've seen a wild line movement here in this game from the very beginning. All the money early was Missouri because this opened pretty much where it is now, 5.5, maybe some 6s. And Missouri was a 2.5, 3-point favorite at one point in this game. And now it's come all the way back around to Ohio State favored again, and now back up to where the original line is. And it's because the initial thought was Missouri's all in for this game, and they still are. Everyone's playing. Brady Cook, the great running back Schrader, all the running backs, Burden, Theo Weiss, those great dynamic Missouri receivers, the O-line, everybody on defense is playing. Missouri's treating this like a championship game. Like they are coming to play, they're coming to win. And Eli Drinkwitz has made no bones about it. They are seriously excited and amped up. There's no motivation concerns whatsoever for Missouri. None, zero for this game. So there's no way, personally, I'm going against Missouri. The question is, can you back Ohio State? And I think if you got them when Missouri became the favorite, it was a good bet because Ohio State, I think, to me, looks a little bit more interested in this game than they initially thought. They were expected to have a lot of opt-outs. Not going to be the case. And in fact, it looks like most of their defense is playing. Most of their offense is playing. The only two that are not playing are McCord, who's already transferred out, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably not going to play. He's the one I would be sure is not playing because it's too risky for him to play with the draft coming up. But everybody else, I think Ibuka, one of their other big receivers, is playing, and everyone at Travion Henderson, the running back, I think is going to be in the game. So Ohio State definitely is going to have more of their starters on the field than initially anticipated. And that's why all the money's poured right back in on Ohio State in this game, because the betting markets feel a fully invested and nearly full capacity Ohio State team is good enough to win and potentially win by margin against Missouri. I'm not so sure about that. I still have my questions. I mean, Ohio State played a Big Ten schedule that stunk, terrible schedule. Notre Dame's their best win, and even then, Notre Dame's a mediocre team this year, as far as I'm concerned. So there's nothing on Ohio State's schedule that Penn State, forget it. That's not a big deal to me. They didn't beat anybody of quality as far as offenses go in this conference. This is actually going to be one of the better offenses that Ohio State's defense has faced with Brady Cook and Missouri. It's a team that can put up points. So now that this number is circled all the way back around to where it opened, I'm going to take Missouri here, plus the points in this game. I just think still, they can say all they want. Ryan Day can give us the coach speak that they're dialed in, they're fired up for this game. There's still a lingering afterthought that, hey, we were this close to beating Michigan and maybe being in the playoff or the Big Ten championship and being in the playoff ourselves. And Missouri, I think they take this opportunity as seriously as it gets. And even if Ohio State is amped up and they play a good football game, I have my doubts they can win this game by margin. I think now we're back at the point where we're discrediting Missouri a little bit too much and we're crediting Ohio State a little bit too much. So plus 5.5 here, Missouri at Bet365.
Is that just regular juice minus 110?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested in that very much. Millsy in the house, MMA locker room. Yeah, you and Lamont were crucial. Very, very crucial to get me off of NC State. It was a great call by you guys. I had the plan, and like Peter Loshak has taught us, I listened and got off. I'm very interested in joining you at this number with Missouri. Yeah. Very, very, very interested, and I expect to. I expect to. Let's review bowl action here. Oh, and so a big run and touchdown for Kentucky. Now 7-3 Kentucky over Clemson. And the Tigers are moving the ball. They're 1st and 10 at the Clemson 48 right now. And some sort of a review taking place. So we'll roll here. This is Bobano's action. He's on Oregon State plus 5.5. This is all lines available right now. Now, he's got better lines in his pocket from his videos. He's just giving us looks right now that are available to bet right now. Oregon State plus 5.5 minus 115. He's on the over 58.5 in Memphis, Iowa State, the Liberty Bowl. Stacks play today is on the over 57.5 as well. Then Bobano is on Missouri plus 5.5. And shout out to our guy Armchair MMA, who will be in Arlington, Texas, at AT&T Stadium at the Cotton Bowl with his father tonight. Enjoy that, man. Soak it in. It's a special opportunity you have there. Rand's liking that over as well that we're talking about, that both of the fellows are on in the Liberty Bowl. All right, let's move into college basketball. I was concerned that we wouldn't have the time to do this because we got a big NBA card with Brizzy ready to pounce, a 10-game NBA card, and we're doing perfect. This is all falling into place. So let's get into college basketball here. Before we introduce our first game, let's talk about Matty Ice, a very easy Taint winner yesterday. And Taint play today is South Florida minus 14.5. He says they should roll here, and Alabama State shouldn't be able to keep up. He also likes Eastern Illinois plus 9, but this is South Florida minus 14.5 is the Taint play of the day. Oh, and before we do also get
I
into
haven't heard that
basketball
for a while. It's good to hear that again.
It's nice to hear that. But before we get into college basketball, now that we do have a couple minutes, we got to get through 6 games in 22 minutes, but which we can do. Bobano, did you have any kind of a best bet or a best look on tomorrow's card that you wanted the guys to know about, the cappers to know about?
Actually, I'm going to add this is not a game on my on our schedule of games for CBB, but I want to put it as an official play for me. Rider Penn State over. It's an afternoon game. Okay. If I can put that on the official playlist, because this actually is probably my favorite afternoon look in college basketball, and the numbers moving, so I want to get on that now. But Rider's been trending over. They're not a very good defensive team at all. I see no reason why Penn State can't get what they want offensively here in this game. And on the flip side, though, when you look at this matchup for Penn State in an afternoon game against an out-of-conference team from the Metro Atlantic like Rider, I don't know if they're going to bring that defensive intensity. So the pieces fit here. Over 144.5 minus 115 at Bet99 for Rider and Penn State.
Over 144.5 at minus 115. Rider Penn State. That pops off at 2 p.m. Eastern in University Park. So that pops off in an hour and 21 minutes. Rider Penn State. All right, we have picked out 6 games to attack here. And our first one starts off at 8 p.m. Eastern. Let's get this all set up here. Here we go. We have Kent State Golden Flashes 7-4, 1-1 on the road at St. Mary's Gales 8-6, 6-3 at home. Let's get into this here. Kent State had their 3-game winning streak snapped. Now, I mean, one game was against the Div 3 college, but they did start it with a road victory in a decent one at South Dakota State. They beat the Jackrabbits 82-73 as 1.5-point dogs. So, they proved that they could travel and win, in a foreign environment. Then they beat Cleveland State at home before they played at Oregon. So they beat the Vikings by 6 at home. They were 11.5-point favorites there. It wasn't the most impressive situation. But then they lose at Oregon 84-70, and that was 8 days ago. And we saw what Oregon can do last night against the tough USC squad. I know their record 6-6, but they have a lot of skill on that USC squad. And Oregon was in control and dominated that first half. And Kent State shot 45.8% from three to sort of stay in the game. They came on strong in the second half. The issue was 14 turnovers from Kent State and just 5 from Oregon. So Kent State travels to play the Gales, who had a winning streak. They'd beaten Colorado State. They looked pretty good. And then they lose to Missouri State. I'm sure that made our Deacon Mike very pleased. But St. Mary's is 13.5-point favorites, who also got out to a big early lead, couldn't finish the job. I mean, they're up 22-11 and lose 69-64 to the Missouri State Bears. Both teams come in fresh here. Let's take a look at the line history for this spot, and then we'll go into the cash flow and hear what Bobano has to say about it. So this is game 1 of 6 games that we'll be talking about here. And from, by the way, IUPUI up 37-18 in this one here. Let's get to this one here. Sorry, so many games up here. Let's get the lines up. Taking a second. Well, here we go. Finally. All right. We have St. Mary's sitting right now. We're going to be using the Bet Online openers. Don't forget about our big Bet Online poker tournament this evening. Please sign up for it. We need more players in. Just had Nasty Nate sign up. I love it. We have Ian Shaber sign up. We need Rez Mob to sign up. This opened up with Kent State plus 9.5. They're now plus 11.5. It is juice to them, but that's a legit 2-point move towards the Gales in what has got to be a clear bounce back spot for them. Against a decent Golden Flash team. This total is sitting at 133. It opened up at 132.5. It got up to 134.5 before there was a little bit of buyback. And then cash flow for this one. This is already setting up for a spot where I would like the favorite to bounce back. I mean, we saw it with Marquette Georgetown. Marquette coming off that loss. It was last Friday here with Bobano, and Marquette destroyed Georgetown in the first half after that loss. I mean, why wouldn't St. Mary's be able to do that here? 53% of the tickets and 54% of the cash are on St. Mary's, and it's moved 2 points. And then from a total scenario, you have 11% of the tickets, but 75% of cash on the under. And that huge bet is what brought it from 134.5 down to 133. Take it away for us, Bobano. Game number 1 for us, Kent State, St. Mary's.
Yeah, this is one that should be very interesting. I'm not laying double digits with St. Mary's. That's for damn sure. Now, I know they've had some better games at home. Yeah, the Middle Tennessee and Northern Kentucky, they rolled in both of those, but they also barely beat UNLV as 6-point favorites by 2. They lost outright just now against Missouri State by 5 as 13.5-point favorites. And Kent State's a very capable team. And you look at Kent State, they had a bad game against Oregon last time out, 84-70. They had a 6-point loss to Charleston, 4-point loss at Missouri, same team that just won at St. Mary's. And then they gave an excellent JMU team everything they could handle, a wild shootout there, 113-108. So, Kent State, they're betting St. Mary's here, but not me. I'm not on Kent State either because St. Mary's is off a loss, but I'm getting close to moving on Kent State. I do like the over here. And St. Mary's is not a team that I normally like overs with, but if you look at them the last few games, their offense has been better, certainly, than it was earlier in the season. They're shooting the ball better. Mahaney's just outstanding. It's a matter of can he get the supporting cast to help him out. And if you look at the defensive numbers for St. Mary's, they haven't been as good this year. They're still solid, but they're not nearly as excellent as they've been in the past. Now, we know they're going to play slow. There's no question about that, but that's also why the total is where it is. But they've still been cashing some overs in recent games, and we know Kent State will push pace. They're 142 in tempo, and they're a very good offensive team, 82nd in the country in offensive efficiency. And if you look at the particular matchup here with these two teams, the weaker matchup for St. Mary's has been their perimeter defense has been a little shaky at times, and that's where Kent State's even better. Shooting the 3 ball, 36.2% from 3-point range, 69th in the country. So team that hasn't been as good defending the perimeter. So I think Kent State will find their pathway to some points. St. Mary's, I think, in this game against a Kent State team that can give up points will also get enough. And we're only talking about a marginal total here. So I do like as an official play here, over 133, minus 115 at DraftKings.
Over 133 at minus 115 at DraftKings. I'm going to be on St. Mary's first half in this one. Sitting here for 8 days over the holidays.
If they weren't off the loss and the many days in a row, I would have absolutely been on Kent State here. But because of that, I'm laying off.
Yeah, it's just sitting in the anger. And even in that Missouri State game, they got up 22-10 and then fell apart. I think they come out hard and strong and take care of business here. So I'm going to be on St. Mary's Golden Gales first half. I did take the L with USC last night, which puts me to 22-9 on the season. Very low volume, but been running nice. Took the loss last night. So that will be my first spot on the board. I want college basketball action this evening. I'm not going to, force it, but I'm certainly interested in it. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, the Washington State Cougars 9-2, opening up their Pac-12 account in Salt Lake City at the Huntsman Center in Utah at the Utes. 2 9-2 squads going up against each other, and it was a bounce back spot for Washington State after that 69-61 loss at home to Santa Clara, beating a good Boise State squad 66-61. Utah has been running, and there's been some good competition sprinkled in there. Now it's been at home. They beat BYU 73-69, beat Utah Valley by 14, and then destroyed Bellarmine. Both teams have been off for a while now. Utah off for 9 days. Washington State off for 8 days. Loopy, I don't know why the records aren't up. I can give them to you here. I'm not sure, Loopy. We put them up for every sport. I can't answer that. Let's move on to the line history here for this one. And I'll just tell them to you here in a second, Loopy, here. But let me just finish off the action here. The total is sitting at 144, opened up at 143. 144 to 143. And then from a spread perspective, it's so many games. It's always the hardest with college basketball. Here we go. And we've hit halftime over in IUPUI Detroit Mercy. From a side perspective here in this Washington State-Utah game over at BetOnline, we are sitting at a -8. This opened up at -6.5, now -8. So we have a 1.5 move towards the Utes. And from a total side of things here, from a cash side of things here, we have 75% of the tickets on the under and no cash information. The cash information tells us that 88% of the tickets and 96% of the cash is on the Utah Utes, and it's moved to 1.5 in their direction. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Washington State, Utah Utes.
Yeah, I think Utah's the right side here. I do. They waxed this team 77-63 last year. They're very good again this year. And when you look at Washington State, and I like their coach a bit, Kyle Smith, but have they really played anybody? I mean, my goodness, Boise's okay, but is that their best win? I mean, they lost to Mississippi State by 12, and that was at home. Or I think actually may not have been at home, might have been on a neutral court. But Mohegan Sun Arena. But yeah, I like Washington State, but to me, there's a step up, and you're going on the road for the very first time, in a true road environment all season. And we know Utah and the Huntsman Center here can be a very difficult place to play. We've seen what they've been able to do on this court. They already beat St. Mary's on the road earlier this year. That Wake Forest, they got a win on against the Demon Deacons on their resume. They're a very good offensive team. This is actually one of the better Utah offensive teams, I think, in a few years. They can score. They've got perimeter shooting. They've got outstanding front court play as well. Carlson's outstanding. Keba Keita is very good as well. It's just a very, very good team, inside-outside balance. Defensively, they're capable. I think their defense has kind of stepped back, but that's because they're scoring so much. So that's been carrying the load here for Utah this season. Washington State, look, they've won 7 of their last 8 games, definitely. But, Rhode Island's not good. Utah Tech, Eastern Washington, Portland State, a lot of Big Sky teams. It's not a great conference. Riverside's pathetic. Grambling State, I mean, they just have not faced a very tough schedule here. Washington State in recent games, and it's a bit of a step up for them. And we already saw Utah on this floor also beat a pretty solid BYU team. So they're very capable. They beat Washington State at home by 14 last year. So I think laying 8 with this team is reasonable. So for me, it's the Utes here in this one. We're taking Utah, and we're going to actually, there's -7.5 still out there. So -7.5, -115 at Bet99.
All right, let's lock that in for you. -7.5 for the Utes for Bobano. 7.5. What was the juice?
-115.
-115. -7.5 at -115. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. San Diego State Aztecs, Gonzaga Bulldogs here. And there are the records. Yeah, we missed them on that first game. But there they are there for you. Loopy. There you go. So San Diego State Aztecs 10-2, 1-2 on the road at number 13th ranked. Gonzaga Bulldogs 9-3, 6-0 at home. McCarthy Athletic Center in Spokane, Washington. Let's get this all ready to go. And these Aztecs on a 3-game winning streak that lost at Grand Canyon. And then they've been winning. They took out Stanford at home last out. And Gonzaga, got a wake-up call at the Huskies. Lost to UConn, sort of at home in Seattle. And then, bounce back here against weak competition, beating the Jackson State Tigers 176 as 26.5-point favorites, sold out in Spokane. So that's the situation here for Gonzaga and San Diego State. Let's get the line history up for this one. 9 p.m. start. We have right now Gonzaga as 7-point favorites at -115. They opened up at 7, dropped to 6.5 a few times. They are right back at 7. And then from a total standpoint here, let's get that up. Thank you. Gee, sorry, taking a little bit of time. From the total standpoint, we have this sitting at a 148.5 juice to the under. This opened up at 145.5. It's climbed 3 points up to 148.5. And then cash flow wise here for this one, we have 65% of the tickets and 73% of cash on Gonzaga. The line's not moving towards them. And total wise, no information. Take it away for us here, Bobano. We have Gonzaga Bulldogs 6-0 at McCarthy at home to the Aztecs.
It's a very fascinating game. I'm not betting it, though. It's too much variance here. San Diego State, yes, they're 10-2, but the 2 losses were concerning to me when you look at what they've done so far this season. They lost at BYU 74-65 early in the season, the first week. And then their other true road game at Grand Canyon. And I was on Grand Canyon in that game. I thought it set up well in that matchup for the Grand Canyon squad in that game. And they lost 79-73 there. I don't trust the Aztecs on the road. It's that simple. So, and I know Gonzaga, to me, Gonzaga is definitely not as good as they've been the last couple of years. But, you still have seen this team capable, and they faced a very, very daunting schedule, especially when you compare it to the overall schedule that San Diego State has faced. Gonzaga's gone up against UCLA, Purdue, USC, Washington, UConn. You talk about running the gauntlet. No one can accuse Mark Few of a cupcake schedule going into conference play. They have been battle-tested. Obviously, they've taken their lumps, like the Purdue game. Losing to Washington, they get drilled at Madison Square Garden in the Jimmy V Classic by UConn. But I think that prepares them well here for this game against a San Diego State team that has not stepped up in class well on the road here so far this season. So if I had to, I'd lean Gonzaga, but with their defense is always not consistent enough for my liking to lay 7 with them. I lean their direction, but ultimately I decided to pass.
I lean towards them as well. I lean towards the Aztecs. But I'm nervous. Can we put a line through that? I guess the only line we can't put a line through really is that loss at Grand Canyon.
Yep. Grand Canyon's a good team, though. Not a great team, but they're a really good team. It's a good program. Bryce Drew's doing a nice job there. Son of Homer Drew, who was a coach a long time. Bryce coached at Vanderbilt. Now he's at Grand Canyon. He's doing a good job. And that's a very good home court for them. But still, if you're San Diego State, you don't want to be losing that kind of a game. And it worries me here. The Kennel is as good a home environment as it can be for Gonzaga. So I don't fully trust the Aztecs on the road against good competition. And we've seen that against BYU and Grand Canyon.
I'm interested in them being able to keep this close. Can you give me a guess at what you think Gonzaga will be ranked as we go in? Not what seed in the tourney, but what they'll be ranked as we go into Pubapalooza?
Like just their straight national ranking, like it is the 13th. Or they might go up a little bit because they're going to be playing that, Swiss cheese West Coast Conference schedule again, and they'll be able to rack up a ton of wins and get a lot of good blowout performances. I don't know how much it's going to move them up but I say that at Pubapalooza they'll be a little bit higher than 13th ranked.
Okay, I'm very interested in the Aztecs here at 7. I mean, you don't have to win this game; just keep it close here. I'm very, very interested.
See, I was definitely interested in Gonzaga, but not at this number. Not at this price. If you had given me something in the 3-4 range, I'd be in, but not at 7.
Yeah, I think I pulled the trigger on the Aztecs, but I'm a little nervous. I feel like they took out all the anger on Jackson State, but it's going to take me a little bit more time. Did we get in, Justin? Tell me we got in. Tell me we got in on that one. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. Washington Huskies at Colorado Buffaloes. We have 3 games left, and then we get into NBA with Billy Brisbane. Here we go. We have Huskies on a 4-game winning streak, and one of them was at home beating Gonzaga here. They did lose at home to Colorado State here. So let's take a look at, first off, neither team's played now for 8 days. And Colorado, after losing to Colorado State, they beat up on Pepperdine. They beat up on Miami. They beat up on Northern Colorado. And they are just coming off, against Utah Tech, a 28-point win against Utah Tech. So just giant, easy, comfortable wins. This is a much tougher game. This is the toughest game, obviously, since Colorado State spot. So then you have to ask yourself, can Washington travel? And we have no idea. All we've seen them play is against, at Seattle U, which isn't a real road game. We saw 3 games in neutral sites, losing in overtime to San Diego State, beating San Diego, and then losing at Colorado or against Colorado State. So we don't know if they can travel, man. And that adds a real trickiness to this cap here. In fact, it makes me want to fade them. Let's talk about the total. Really high. We're at 157.5. This opened up at 155.5. It's gone up 2 points. So already high total has gone even higher. And then from a spread perspective, get this up here. From a spread perspective, we're dealing with a 9. A 9. I guess, that makes sense. I was hoping it'd be a little shorter, but this opened up at 7 and was hammered right away, moved to 9. This actually got up to 9.5 before there was buyback. That makes sense. I mean, this team has not proven yet that they can go out on the road in a tough situation and deliver a victory. Why wouldn't this be a high spread? 43% of tickets, 44% of the cash on the over. It's gone up 2 points despite that. And then you have 37% of tickets, but 83% of the cash on Colorado. So you have the public on a road dog that hasn't been in a true road environment and it's moved 2 points against them. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Huskies at the Buffaloes.
Yeah, I like favorite and over here. It's a kind of a square look in this game, but I think it makes sense. I love the Colorado in this home court. I paid the price going against Colorado at home, and I still remember the Northern Colorado game, and they just dummied Northern Colorado. And that was not a good spot either for Colorado, but I'm not messing around with them in Boulder in this building. Definitely a situation where I think you're going to see a good performance here from Colorado. And you're right about Washington. Haven't played much in terms of true road games. And really since their signature win against Gonzaga, who we know is not nearly as good this year. They were life and death to beat Seattle, and they struggled with Eastern Washington, in their last 2 games. So it's not exactly what you want to see here for the Huskies going on the road to this great Buffaloes team and this tough environment. I like the way Colorado matches up. They've just got extremely explosive offensive firepower. They've got perimeter shooting. They got mid-range game. They crash the boards and get a lot of offensive they're a great offensive rebounding team. Putbacks, layups, and I think they hold that advantage, especially in the front court and the size department against Washington. And I think that's going to come through for them. And they're also a little banged up in the front court, Washington, which you don't want to see either. So, I think it's a tall order here for Washington in this game. Colorado's been an ATS machine here at home all season long. So, quite honestly, I have no issues here taking the Colorado Buffaloes in this game. -8.5, -115 at Botano. And I also like a lot of points in this game. Both teams are going to play fast. Both teams have offensive capabilities. And Colorado's been really pushing the tempo even more at home this year in a lot of their past home games. And I've been on a lot of Colorado overs, especially at home, and I'm on another one here. So over 156.5, -110 at BetMGM.
You got it locked down. By the way, our guy Lucas Ryan dropped his soccer action here. Hull City money line for Lucas Ryan here. Bobano on the Buffaloes -8.5 and the over 156.5. I'm going to fade the Huskies in their first half on a true road environment here. I'm going to take Colorado Buffalo's first half in this spot. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. Arizona Wildcats, number 4th ranked team in the nation, 9-2, opening up their Pac-12 account at the California Golden Bears. We're at Haas Pavilion in Berkeley, California. Arizona coming off that double overtime loss, 2 days before Christmas on the 23rd, 6 days ago, last Saturday, against Florida Atlantic. I mean, what a game that was. 96-95 Florida. Arizona shot just 38.8% from the field and 28% from three. And despite out rebounding, Florida Atlantic, the shots wouldn't fall and they couldn't get the job done. Cal bounced back off that double overtime loss at Butler, the 10-point loss at Ole Miss. They played 9 days ago against UC San Diego. They won at home by 4. Despite being 8.5-point favorites, despite shooting 48.1% from the field and 45.5% from three. Not a good basketball team. Now, they were dominating the game. That was a maybe they just couldn't handle that. They got up 21-6. They were up 42-19. And then they took their foot off the gas and almost lost the basketball game against a team that wasn't hitting anything. So, I don't know whether Cal can be trusted, and Arizona is an angry group, but we're talking about a giant spread here. The Cal Bears are 13.5-point dogs. They were 16 and then 16.5. This has come all the way down to 13.5. So a clear, a presumed sharp action on the Golden Bears to move this spread from 16.5 all the way down to 13.5. And from a total perspective, we are dealing with a 157, and this opened up at 156.5. It's gone up a half point to 157. A bit of a surprise move towards the Cal Bears. Maybe they showed what kind of team they're in the first half. 38% of tickets and 57% of cash is on Cal. So, that's just clear big bets and sharp action. And then from a total standpoint, we have 85% of tickets and 96% cash on the over. It's only gone up a half point. Take it away for us here. Second to last game on the card before we get into NBA, Arizona, California.
Cal has barely been within 13, 14 points of this team in the last 10 meetings. It's been destruction after destruction for Arizona over Cal in recent meetings. And this Arizona team is not only excellent, but they're off losses in 2 of their last 3 games. The Purdue loss was tough. Purdue's excellent. We know that. They beat Alabama. An absolute classic. Honestly, one of the best regular season college basketball games you'll see with Florida Atlantic and Arizona last weekend. It was absolutely scintillating, electrifying basketball. Brilliant offense. Back and forth, momentum swings, and just a gut-wrenching loss for Arizona. I think that has them fueled for tonight against California, a Cal team that is just not good right now. 4-7. They've gone through this massive change in system. They played slow half-court basketball for years under Mark Fox, and now with Madsen, the new coach, they're playing fast. up tempo, but I don't know if they have the consistent shooting to play that way, but they still play fast. They push pace, and they've been a good over team for me as a result. 8-3 to the over for Cal because of this dramatic tempo and pace change for them this season. I think they're going to get diced here by Arizona defensively, and I think they're going to struggle to keep up for the full 40 minutes in this game. So I'm laying the big number here with Arizona, minus 13.5, minus 110 at Botano. And I'm also going to go with another over here because I think if Arizona gets their way, they'll push pace, and they may not let their foot off the gas pedal after that Florida Atlantic game. And look, they have just put up some massive numbers against Cal in recent meetings, 85, 85, 81, 89, 96 for Arizona in the last 4 head-to-head meetings. All 4 of those games go over the total. So Arizona minus 13.5 and over 150. 6.5, minus 110 at PointsBet.
Over 156.5 and minus 110 and the 13.5. I would be right there with you if there wasn't this move against it. I still think it makes a ton of sense. All right. Sending the 5-minute warning to Brizzy for NBA action. A huge NBA card here. Let's move on to the final spot on the board. Bobano, 11 p.m. Eastern. Arizona State Sun Devils 6-5, opening up their Pac-12 account at Stanford Cardinal 5-5 Maples Pavilion, Stanford, California. I've been there myself. My cousin, through my aunt, went to Stanford. And I got to go there and smell the eucalyptus trees and do mushrooms on the property and do mushrooms in the. They have a. What is it? It's the Statue Park? What the hell do they have? I can't even remember. I was tripping balls. All right, let's go into this here. Arizona State's lost 3 straight games, coming off an ugly 19-point loss to Northwestern that was on the heels of an ugly 20-point loss at home to TCU. I mean, these are bad losses for the Sun Devils. Stanford had their 2-game winning streak against Cupcakes squashed by San Diego State at San Diego State. That was on... that was 8 days ago. They lose. So that was last Thursday. And they lose 74-60. They were in that game for most of it, but fell out late. Shot 15% from 3, but they played sloppy. They turned the ball over 16 times. And Kentucky fighting back. Kentucky is fighting back, they say in the chat. Let's take a look at the line history here.
That's about what I expected. A pretty close game there. Clemson. Yeah, I expected it to be close.
It's going to be a fun watch, man. It's going to be a fun watch. We're sitting here with a total at 148 at BetOnline, juice to the over. This opened up at 142.5. So we've had a huge 5.5-point move to the over. My goodness. A giant move to the over. And from a point spread perspective, we are sitting here with Stanford minus 5.5. Stanford opened up at 5. There's been a half-point move in their favor. So let's take a look at the cash flow then for this one. From a cash flow standpoint, on the total, you have 33% of the tickets and 86% of the cash on the over. Good God, that's huge, huge, huge action. And then from a spread look, we have, here. How did I lose this so fast? There we go. 91% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on Stanford. Wow. And it's only moved a half point. Wow. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Last game on the card for college basketball, Sun Devils Cardinal.
Yeah, I don't want Arizona State. Do I want to lay 5.5 with Stanford? Well, they are 5-1 at home, the Stanford Cardinal team, but you look at the competition, Eastern Washington, Santa Clara, they lost at home as 7.5-point favorites, and that's not what you want to see. See Sun or Sacramento State, CS Northridge, San Diego, Idaho. It's been a pretty cupcake schedule here for Stanford. So, and they are coming off a loss against the Aztecs. Arizona State's awful. I mean, I can't back, and I won't back Arizona State, but the idea of laying 5.5 with Stanford's not overly appealing to me. I do like over, but not now. It's just moved too much. This total has gotten whacked 7 points or so. It opened as low as 141.5. It's all the way up to 148. It's moved a little too much for me. I lean over, but I got a better number than what's out there now. Pass at the current numbers.
Jeez, I wish Stanford was coming off that Idaho game. I would be on Arizona State, but that tough spot in San Diego State. I can understand why. You know what? The market, though, is screaming that Arizona State's going to be in this basketball game. God, after back-to-back.
I don't want the Sun Devils, but I don't trust Stanford enough. It's easy for me to say, yeah, better games on the board.
What the hell happened to Arizona State? They beat the Dons and SMU at home, and then lose by 20 to TCU and Northwestern. What happened?
Well, first of all, their issue for all the years that Bobby Hurley's been here is defensively, and the defense has gone south again. You look at some of these. How do you give up 89 points to San Diego? In one of those losses, just absolutely, there just hasn't been enough good defensive play, contesting shots. It's just not been a consistent for this group at all. And then, of course, the offense just falls apart against Northwestern in that loss. They can't make shots. And with their defense going back to the old Arizona State ways, you can't be having the poor shooting night they had against Northwestern. So Northwestern, it was everything. It was defense, and it was their shooting was dreadful that night. But more importantly, why have they started losing? Because they're not guarding anybody again. And it's been way too much of a problem with that area of their game under Bobby Hurley. I mean, they just haven't been a great defensive team really consistently enough since he's been here.
Oh, God, I'm just optional misery. I'm interested in the Sun Devils here. I'm not going to bet this after the show. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen here with the market, but I'm interested in Arizona State. Let's review college basketball here. The Taint play today came in from Matty Ice, South Florida. Bobano's on Ryder Penn State over 144.5. That pops off in 48 minutes. He's on the over 133 in Kent State, St. Mary's. I'm going to be on St. Mary's first half. Bobano is on the Utes minus 7.5. I'm going to be on the Aztecs here. I'm also going to be on Colorado first half. Bobano's on Colorado minus 8.5 and the over 156.5 in Huskies Buffaloes. Bobano's on Arizona minus 13.5 and the over 156.5. And I think that I will be on Arizona State. If 6-7 hours from now there's been no sign that the books are concerned with all this money on Stanford, then I will move on. The Sun Devils here. I'm not on mushrooms now, Saturated. I don't partake in them now. I'm 44 years old. I've changed a little bit in my old age here. Bobano, spectacular work. I do remember the smell of the eucalyptus trees, though, Saturated. That never goes away. Thank you for all of your hustle, Bobano, here on Fridays. I will review your NHL action and the rest of your late bowl action once more at the end of the show. But thank you so much for rolling with us. Please follow Bobano on X. And don't forget, his bowl games are up on our YouTube homepage. Any bowl game you want information on is right up all the way to the semis. And then we will be live for the national championship Monday night live stream here on January 8th. We'll be live for that Monday nighter. And Bobano, we'd love it if you could be a part of that. Thank you guys for all of thank you, Bobano, for all of your support, man. Love hearing you rock. Any last words for the Capper Sport in the show?
Actually, I'm going to add 2 plays, one in each sport before we go. I'm going to add the Seattle-Philly draw in that game. So I was looking at it more as we were going through that. Plus 350 for the draw. And they've played – both of these teams have been in a lot of one-goal games lately as well. Not Philly last night, but before that they had been. And Seattle has been as well. So draw plus 350 for Philadelphia, Seattle. And I'm going to add one more over in college basketball. Illinois State, Kentucky, over 148.5 minus 110 at Bet Rivers. So that's Illinois State, Kentucky, over 148.5 minus 110. Kentucky's a great offensive team. Absolutely scintillating. They have been lighting things up, scoring 80s, 90s, 100s multiple times. I don't trust Illinois State to be able to handle this team with what they are. It's everything. It's inside scoring. It's good shooting from long distance. Kentucky is a third ranked 3-point percentage offense right now in college basketball, which is very, very impressive. I think it's going to be a little overwhelming here for Illinois State. Although Illinois State offensively, you look at the last few games, we've seen probably their best offensive outputs of the season, the Redbirds. Now, against competition that isn't as good as Kentucky, but I think tonight you'll see them start to they'll contribute enough. I see something along the lines of something like 96 to 50, 58, 90 or not, something like that, 96 to 60. You could get a game like that, and it ends up going over. So over 148.5 there with Illinois State, Kentucky.
Over 148.5, Illinois State, Kentucky for our guy, Bobano. Bobano, thank you so much, my man. Do you have any last words for the Cappers here supporting the show?
Just have a great weekend. It's the final weekend of 2023. Make it count. Happy New Year to everyone. Jimmy, Billy, everyone in the chat. Happy New Year. Let's make it a great 2024. Cash some tickets, and we will see you next week right here in 2024. We'll see you in the new year.
There he is, Bobano in the house. The last time we will see him here on Betting with the Bag in 2023. And don't worry, Jose Bouquet going to join us as well to close up our last show of 2023. Talk about some of the best moments of the year. Let's roll into NBA. Finally, we have our next guest making his NBA season debut here on the show. He's been a big part of our NBA coverage. He's a big part of our NFL Pub Hub coverage. He's been a top 5 performer in that year after year. And he's a huge part of our MMA coverage here on Pub Sports Radio. Please welcome to the show from South Jersey, our guy, Billy Brisbane, to the show. Brizzy, how are you, my man?
I'm feeling good, man. It is a great NBA docket of slate. 10 games on the fucking board. I don't have to parlay up a bunch of fucking favorites to make money. So I'm great. I'm feeling good, Jim. You know, making my first debut of the year. So we got to bring the winners, right?
You do, and you always have. You do, and you always have. We have interesting action here. And look at those zeros on the board. We have Brizzy opening up his NBA account here on the show. I picked up the win last night. One bet, Pelicans first half, -4.5. You know, it's one of those things where the first quarter and the full game didn't cover, and I was only on the first half. That rarely happens for me, and I will just be thankful and move on. But that I was shocked. How did NBA go for you last night, my man?
NBA was good. Besides, I went 2-1. Hit on the Nuggets first quarter, Nuggets Pelicans parlay. But man, I had a 5-leg parlay last night called the Just Win Chalk Parlay, and the Warriors got fucking smoked against the Heat to lose my 5-leg parlay at +219. But that's always the case when you place a 5-leg parlay. You're always bound to go 4-1.
Yeah, those are they're tricky spots. But let's get into this beauty card because there are some spots that I am very, very interested in. Let me make sure this is set up for total so we can move around quickly and we're good to go. All right, let's roll. We start with the New York Knicks at Orlando Magic. The Heat very quickly fighting with the Magic for that division win. A lot of us got in on that Magic to win the division at 10-1. And it's slipping. They had a couple good wins sandwiched around Christmas at Indiana and at Washington. Beat Indiana by 7, beat Washington by 8. But then at home to Philly with no Embiid, they lose by 20, which makes me think this is a great bounce back spot for them. But I fear the Knicks. I fear fading the Knicks. The Knicks, both teams come off Wednesday night action. The Knicks lost 129-120 at OKC, while the Magic lost by 20 to a Philadelphia team without Embiid. We're sitting here with Orlando as 1-point favorites. It's better probably to look at the money line. I think that'll give us a better tale of the situation. Right now, the Knicks are -109 at Pinnacle, and they open up at +104. So a 13-cent move towards the New York Knicks. And I wonder if this Magic team is going to slip here. I wonder if they're just, I wonder if the Magic just aren't ready for, being a top team in the NBA, top team, being amongst the top 10 teams in the NBA, or being a challenge for the division lead with the Heat. This total opened up at 227. It's now at 226.5. And from a cash flow standpoint, we have 65% of tickets and just 38% of the cash on the Magic on the spread. On the money line, it's the same deal. 62% of tickets and just 18% of cash on the Magic. Then we have 50% of tickets and 72% cash on the under in this total. So Here we go. A Magic playing with Slow-Mo Joe out, Gary Harris out, Markelle Fultz out, Isaac is a game-time decision, and Sims is out for these Knicks. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Knicks Magic game 1 of the NBA card.
Yeah, just previewing the standings for the Eastern Conference right now. I mean, the Magic are 18-12, and I definitely think that number's due to regress by the end of the season. But it's more of the post-game comments that I want to highlight for this game. The Knicks are coming off that 129-120 loss to the Thunder, but Thibodeau's post-game comments were like the highlight of the show. He said, "We started out slow. We were playing from behind the whole game. I thought we had a pretty good resolve. We didn't let it get away from us, but we couldn't finish it in the end. I thought our turnovers hurt us. Some of that is from the defense coming after the ball, but I thought the rebounding was good enough, but the turnovers put them in the open floor, so it gave them a cushion." And then vice versa on the Orlando Magic side, it felt like their head coach literally gave away their fucking scouting report in their post-game press conference. He said after the Sixers game, "I thought that they did a really good job of plugging the paint and our ability to navigate that. You have to give credit to them recognizing the game plan and executing at it at a high level," which is a big concern. Like, if you know that you're acceptable in the paint and this team doesn't even have Joel Embiid out there, and you're getting banged up down low by the fucking Sixers, it's a big red flag when you're playing against the Knicks, regardless of Mitchell Robinson being in there. The Knicks have a big advantage when it comes to their front court matchups. The Knicks are 8th in the NBA in opponent points per game in the paint with 46.9 per game. They play defense without fouling. They're 4th in opponent free throw percentage at our free throws allowed at 20.1 per game. So I lean towards the Knicks, and I lean towards the under in this game. I think the under could be the best bet in this game. It's going to be a slow pace, physical type of game. The under has hit in all 5 recent head-to-head matchups between these two teams.
Yeah, I'm going to have to stay off the spot. I think it's an angry Magic team that wants to prove something, but clear, sharp money on the Knicks. And yeah, just going to have to stay off. I'm going to stay off. But interesting look on the under. Stay off spot for me. Brizzy, you staying off then?
Yeah, I'm staying off. This isn't the better plays of the card goes as the show goes, right?
Let's move on to Brooklyn Nets, Washington Wizards. We have Gallinari game time decision. Same with Nick Claxton game time decision. Finney Smith also game time decision. Of course, Simmons and Walker are out for Brooklyn. Brooklyn coming off that 144-122 loss at home to Milwaukee on Wednesday and now hit the road. Wizards have lost 3 straight, and on Wednesday at home, they lost by 30 to the Raptors. They played Orlando okay the night before, but both teams were playing on the second half of a back-to-back, and both teams got slaughtered. The Nets lose by 20. The Wizards lose at home by 30. Take a look at the line history then for this one. We'll start with the side. From a side perspective, I got money line up. Sorry. From a side perspective on this one, we have Washington as 6.5-point dogs. They opened up at 6. It's moved a half point. From a total look here, we have a 242 at Pinnacle. This opened up at 241, but it opened up at 241 and it got up to 243.5 at 6 this morning. 243.5. Since then, there's been a 1.5 of buyback. So it's a very slight move to the over, but U-shaped movement. And then cash-wise here, we have 57% of the tickets and 68% of cash on the Nets. Line's not really moving towards and moved a half point. You have 87% of tickets on the over and 59% of cash, and yet you've had this big buyback on the under. 13% of tickets, 41% cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Brooklyn Nets, Washington Wizards.
Yeah, this isn't my favorite betting game on the card. The Nets they were covering spreads left and right a month ago, but just in general, this form of the Brooklyn Nets have been trending down in form, but they get a great matchup versus the Washington Wizards tonight. The Wizards are allowing 126.8 points per game, and opponents are shooting 50.3% versus the Wizards, which is next to dead last in the NBA. So reading into the bad statistical numbers, kind of makes me lean towards the Nets, but this is what I call a cookie jar situation where you back a team, but they end up losing on the spread, but win the game outright. I could definitely see that happening here for this one. And reading in some of these statistical numbers would make you want to play Spencer Dinwiddie assist prop. But when you look at the player props, just too many players being played for the Nets. If you want to win basketball games, you cut down the rotation to 8 fucking players. You're playing 10, 11 players. I don't get it, man. I don't think I'm not a big Vaughn fan, but Dennis Smith Jr. has cut into Spencer Dinwiddie's usage massively coming off the bench. Spencer Dinwiddie has gone under 7.5 assists in 6 straight games and 11 out of his last 12 games. So that's any indication that the bench has been playing somewhat better for the Nets. It's just, man, this is just one of those spots, man, where you bet the Nets and you take a -6, and then you're screaming at the end of the game when the Wizards are. It kind of reminds me of the Wizards last game. The Wizards last game they played, or the game before the Toronto game, which was on a back-to-back. They played Toronto, and they ended up losing the spread late in that game. But, I mean, if you're watching that game closely, they're right in the game damn near with a minute left. I think the Wizards could pull out the backdoor cover in this one, so I'm going to stay off.
Yeah, I have some interest in the Wizards here, but both teams were so bad, 2 nights ago. I don't really feel like there's a full edge, but I am interested in it. Let's move on to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Sacramento Kings 17-12, 6-7 on the road at Atlanta Hawks, 12-18, 4-8 at home. We're at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Both teams 2-3 over their past 5. Sacramento playing at a pace over those 5 games, 98.50 possessions a game, 24th in the NBA. They're slowing down. So is Atlanta. We've been talking about it for the last little while. 100.2 possessions a game, 11th fastest. But the whole league has slowed down their pace. The whole league has slowed down. The Spurs, fastest pace in the league, 104 possessions a game right now over their past 5. Hawks have lost 3 straight. We last saw them on Tuesday losing 118-113 at the Bulls. Lost at Miami, lost at home to Memphis, and then lost at the Bulls, 12-18 and 4-8 at home. The Kings have lost 2 straight. They lose at home to Minnesota, and then on December 26th, they go into Portland and lose by 17. They lose by 17. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We'll start with the spread. On the spread, we have, I guess we should use money line because it's a very tight one. That'll give us a better idea of what the hell's going on. So, sorry, did I move? Oh, God, sorry. That's my fault. Let's go over the money line. From the money line, we have right now at Penny, Atlanta at -107. They opened up at -110, so there's been really no movement. It's always stayed within about 7 cents. So we've had a 2-cent move for Sacramento, a 3-cent move away from Atlanta, so nothing there. From the total look, we have it at 252. There are some places at 252.5. This is at 252. This opened up at 251, and it dropped to 249 before climbing back up to 252. Then we have a total here, a cash flow spot here. We have 80 on the spread. We'll do spread and money line because they're both important. 80% of the tickets and 56% of the cash on the King. So 20 and 44 for Atlanta. On the money lines, 55 and 63 for Atlanta. And then 74% tickets, 73% cash on the over. This is a tricky spot here. 2 generally healthy teams. Take it away for us, Kings, Hawks.
Yeah, this is one of those games when you talk about the total. Let's talk about the total first. I ain't betting no fucking under in this game. I could only go over, but I ain't betting over 252. So this is just what you would circle as a prop-centric game. But when it comes to the spread, I think the books are telling you everything that you need to know. Atlanta is 1-11 ATS at home this year, spread-wise, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's a team that you can't confidently put money on them, but this would be the spot that they will win this game. It's just that they're 7-23 ATS this season, and they're being favored in this game. So all those stats and information about the Hawks being bad and they're being favored in this game, to me, is telling you everything that you need to know. But my favorite angle on this game, we're going to the rookie here, Jalen Johnson, over 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -115. Jalen Johnson was back in the lineup after the last game, missing 14 straight games with a fractured wrist, but he went right back to his starting role in that last game, playing 29 minutes in his return Tuesday night. And this is a massive total on the board, and I ain't betting the under, so you got to dig into the prop angles. And Jalen Johnson's going over his points, rebounds, and assists in 9 out of his last 12 games when playing more than 27 minutes. No DeAndre Hunter tonight for the Hawks, so Jalen Johnson's going to see about 30 to 35 minutes. Sacramento's 10th in the pace in the NBA. They allow the 8th most points and 6th most assists to the power forward position, and allowing the 7th most points and rebounds to the power forward position. So Jalen Johnson up and over the total of his PRA. The books have not adjusted towards the rookies kind of hitting that second stride. And we're not talking about the Wembianas of the world. Right now, if you're backing the overs on these rookies like Jalen Johnson, Peziminski from the Warriors, Jacquez from UCLA on the Miami Heat, the numbers have not adjusted to the rookies playing better as they're getting more accustomed to the NBA. I think the in-season tournament has really helped the learning curve for these rookies. So we're going with Jalen Johnson up and over that points, rebounds, and assists total. And he's the main reason why I lean towards the Atlanta Hawks winning this game. If you look at the Atlanta Hawks ATS numbers without him on the floor, complete dog shit. But if he's on the floor, they've been a lot better defensively. So I lean towards Atlanta on the money line, but Jalen Johnson over points, rebounds, and assists. That number's moving, so you better get on it now.
And what was that number as well?
-115.
And it was 24.5?
22.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
Over 22.5 PRA for Jalen Johnson for Brizzy. Let's move on to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Lamont Williams came in and gave us his max bet. Boston Celtics -7.5. Second half of a back-to-back after the debacle last night against the Pistons. Now, they did find a way to win it 128-122 in overtime for their 4th straight victory. The Raptors bounced back with the thrashing of the Wizards 132-102. A much-needed victory for this squad, now 12-18. From a pace standpoint, over the past 5 games, Raptors playing at the 21st fastest pace, 98.9 possessions game. While Boston 4-1 over the past 5, playing at a 97.44 pace. That's 28th in the NBA. Let's go over to the spread. Sorry, I got the money line up. From a spread perspective, we've got Boston now at -6. Wow, so a big move towards the Raptors. Interesting. I wonder if that is a player personnel situation because you have Horford out.
The shoot-around news just came out. Horford's out. Holiday's questionable, so he's probably not going to play. Porzingis is out. And Jaylen Brown, who knows what they're going to do with Jaylen Brown? He sat out last night. Is he going to sit out tonight? I have no idea. So it's like, from an injury news report perspective, I mean, if you grab that +12.5 last night with the Raptors, I mean, that's a good-ass ticket. But as this is moving down, I mean, Boston or pass, right?
Yeah, this is part of how you get screwed here. Even when you you're looking to get the CLV and then you get screwed. My guy T-Mac in the house. Yes, T-Mac, my guy. 8 p.m. and we need you. We need you, my guy. We need you in right now. Let's take a look. And we're still. I want 50. We need 50 players. We're at 15 right now. So we need people to enter our poker tournament tonight, 8 p.m. We have the company live stream. Jose and I will be hosting. Let's roll Raptors, Celtics, and TD Garden here. This is this crazy move down to, well, not crazy. I mean, it's explainable. Brizzy just put it on a tee for us why it's happening. And then here from a total perspective, how did this go? Sorry, I thought I had it up. Here we go. From the total here in the Raptors game, I'm sure that's dropped off as well. It's not really. Sitting at 225 right now. It's opened up at 225.5, up to 226 now at 225. And then from a cash flow perspective, Raptors have 72% of tickets and 95% of the cash. 17% of tickets, 49% cash on the under. You know, I was thinking last night that if you were, really taking this to the next level from a unit size perspective, you'd want to have ins on these basketball teams to find out, who is going to play and who's not going to play. So at least you could beat these market moves and then go in for middles whenever you wanted. take it away for us here, Brizzy. You, with all the question marks around the Celtics roster, is there anything you want to move on?
Yeah, when this line first opened up, it was like the Raptors were popping up as like the best bet of the card at plus 12.5 last night when this opened up on FanDuel. But even then, I just didn't. I don't think the Raptors are a good basketball team, regardless of who's in, who's out. I don't give a fuck what the spot is scenario. I don't like the Raptors at all as a basketball team. They finally made Scotty Barnes the starting point guard, which should help with their offensive scoring numbers. Gary Trent had a really good game in their last game, and it seemed like the moves that they were making were the correct moves. Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench and stuff like that. But just in general, as this line's going down, it's a way different cap. I think the move here is, if you have access to FanDuel, one way to look at this is to bet the Boston Celtics to be trailing by 10 plus points and still win the game outright at plus 420. I thought that was a good little angle. I could see Boston they're kind of a slumpy type of team. They go through their moods and stuff like that. Derek White, though, would be the guy to really highlight when the props come back up and we get a clearer injury news report. I mean, if all those guys are out, you got to bet a Derek White prop. But I kind of lean towards the Celtics here. This could be a live betting scenario where you catch the Celtics down like they were last night against the Detroit Pistons. You bet them live and you cash. The Celtics on the second half of back-to-back is really good this year. Boston's 3-1 ATS with no rest this year. It's just hard to really make an official bet on this game without, I mean, that's the whole fucking team. I don't want to be betting on fucking Sam Hauser, Metsu, and Derek White of the worlds, but if it's a -5 or -4 line, I mean, shit, they're telling you that you're going to have to do what you're going to have to do. But shouts to the people that got the Raptors last night at plus 12.5. They were able to beat the line movement in this game. But this is a stale line now. And at this given point in time, I really like that Celtics to trail by 10 in this game and still win the game outright, plus 420. That feels like the correct odds for that type of prop. And the line movement is kind of telling you that if people that bet the early Raptors tickets, great bet. But now you're going to try to have the people catch that late steam. And it's Friday. Friday's the most popular betting day of the whole entire NBA card. So people are going to be betting the Raptors today when they pull up their little videos and type in what's the best bet today. It's going to say a lot of Raptors shit. But I think this is one of the spots where the bookies end up eating, though. The people that bet the plus 12, the plus 7s, the plus 8s, and then they end up losing the game outright, and the bookies end up cleaning up with the Celtics. You're telling me that the Detroit Pistons on a fucking 27-game losing streak last night was the most bet money line on an NBA card without Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, etc.? That's just absurd to me. The bookies are cleaning up on these Celtics games right now, and I think this is another bookie spot where go bet the Raptors. And then the Celtics end up winning the game outright. And doesn't matter what the closing line value was. So that's the game that we play when we're betting the NBA. And it's a sick game, but it's a game that we love to play.
It's part of all of the huge part of all this is finding the angles and seeing what angles the books will be using. Nasty Nate, though, says that Brown will dunk on someone's neck tonight.
If he's in.
Shout out to our guy. You got to think he's in after missing last night, but we'll have to see. Nasty
that injury news report, though, seems like they might just punt this game. Horford, Holiday, Porzingis, all out. And then you pop up Jaylen Brown, questionable. It would seem like the injury news report would say Jaylen Brown would be in after all those people have just got ruled out.
No, I feel you. We'll keep a close eye on it because it's an important game here for the Raptors to save face or just trade everybody. And I've got that 36.5 win total on the season hanging in the balance. Our guy, Nasty Nate, shout out to him and his son, basketball player for Rhode Island High School. And we're doing a fundraiser for his kids' basketball team for jerseys and for travel expenses. Jose put the link there in the chat. Jose put in money. So did Kelly McInnes, and it's wonderful to see. If anything you can, just even if it's $5, $10 or whatever, anything we can do to help, because that's what we do. We support each other. We support each other's families, and so and Nasty Nate, thank Loshak, CMAC as well have donated. I've donated. So please get in there and if you can. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Milwaukee Bucks 23-8, 7-6 on the road at Cleveland Cavaliers 18-13, 9-7 at home at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. For this, both teams 4-1 over their past 5, and Milwaukee playing at a much faster pace, 4th in the league, 103.5 possessions a game, while Cleveland 4-1, 95.41 possessions a game. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet is in OKC +3, and sorry, yeah, Dan, you have to have a Bet Online account, my man. Oh, because you're in New York.
Yeah, I'm in New Jersey. I can't play on Bet Online.
Oh, that sucks. Damn. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, some of you guys get screwed there, and that's too bad, Dan. It'd be really fun to have you involved, and same with you, Brizzy. But okay, let's roll through this spot here. I have copied and pasted our guy Ron's action. Director 97 looking at the Cavs, a +6 here at Rocket Mortgage. And here's another game where, Giannis Antetokounmpo is game time decision. And as we know, for the Cavs, Mobley out, Garland out, and Mitchell and Merrill both game time decisions. So another spot where you really need to kind of have an idea of who's going to be in and who is going to be out. Cavs come off victory on Wednesday night. Both teams won on Wednesday night. The Bucks beat one at Brooklyn 144-122. Well, the Cavs won at Dallas, an undermanned Dallas squad, or the Cleveland was the undermanned squad, 113-110 with a huge, ferocious 15-0 run late to take care of business. Teflon Don back in the house, man. Respect. We haven't seen Teflon Don in too long, man. Respect. Great to see you, man. Thank you for rolling with us. So let's go here. Dan Kelly says, Milwaukee last game of the trip was 6 days spent in New York City. I would not bet Milwaukee, Giannis or not. They are looking to come home.
Nah, that's a fact. Dan Kelly, I literally have that written up. I don't like the scheduling spot here for Milwaukee.
Looking to come home here. So we have a move right now towards Milwaukee, I guess an 8-cent move. They opened up -6 and -105. They're now -6 and -113. So it's 1:42 p.m. Eastern. So we do know that means Giannis is very likely to be playing. We'd know that. We'd have an idea at least of that by now. And the total here is at 239.5, -106 to the over. It has not moved. Nothing's moved here on the market. And then cash flow for this one, we have 78% of tickets and 86% of cash on Milwaukee, and the line's not moving. Interesting. 65% of tickets, 53% cash on the over. Well, you guys have piqued my interest in the Cavaliers here for this one. Brizzy, take it away.
Yeah, these two teams enter red hot. I mean, the Bucks are 8-1 in their past 9 games, while the Cavs have won 5 out of their last 6 games, regardless of their injury news report. But it's just a scheduling spot for Milwaukee here. This is the last game of a 4-game road trip. Like Dan Kelly said, they spent 6 days, back-to-back games. So they were in New York from last Friday night to damn near like the middle of this week. Bro, they didn't spend Christmas in New York. They didn't play 3 different games in New York. And now you're going back up on the road to Cleveland? Cold-ass Cleveland? I don't know. As a real-life NBA, from a real life perspective, NBA, think about what an NBA player thinks of. There's no way you're walking into this locker room tonight. Ain't no LeBron on the other fucking side of the fucking gym. You could probably care 2 shits less about this game. And then if you look at their scheduling spot, they don't play the whole entire weekend, Jim. So not only do they not play the whole entire weekend, they play tonight, Friday in Cleveland, and then the next 2 consecutive back-to-back games on Monday and Wednesday at home versus the Indiana fucking Pacers, and then in Indiana on Wednesday. This is a look-ahead spot. This is I don't really give a fuck about this spot type of game. I mean, those 2 games against the Pacers, you know damn well Damian Lillard has that shit circled on his fucking calendar. Let's hit the fucking road. Whatever you got to do to get the fuck out of Cleveland, let's hit the road because I don't really want to be here. So from that perspective, it kind of leans me towards Cleveland. But just from this isn't the way you're supposed to cap basketball games, but this is the way I cap it. I'm not putting my money on the Cleveland Cavaliers unless Donovan Mitchell's out there on the court. That's just straight up how it is. Donovan Mitchell is not in this game man, I can see the Bucks fuck around and still play like dog shit and win this game. Could be one of those handcuff caught in the cookie jar situation. The Bucks win the game outright. Cavs cover. This is the type of game where you bet the Cavs and you hope in the news of Donovan Mitchell being in for this game. It sounded like he was going to play the other night against Dallas, to be honest with you. But maybe they're holding him off for this home game. They want to have him in the first game on the road. This would be a great spot for Donovan Mitchell. The Bucks can't guard shit when it comes to point guards and shooting guards. It's the Cavs or pass for me, but man, I just feel like if I bet the Cavs and Donovan Mitchell's out and this line goes up to plus 8.5, 9, I'm going to be pissed the fuck off.
Yeah, and it won't if he's announced in, it won't change because Giannis is going to be announced in, and that they just, X each other out. So, look, I like the Cavs here. I'm going to wait, though. As you said, I'm going to wait. I don't think the only thing that could happen is Giannis is not in, but Deshaun G saying he will play today. We all think he's going to play today. So Dan Kelly also says Jared Allen props over is the only way to play this. That's Cavs Bucks. Well, that gives me something to look forward to. I'm interested in moving on that one. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. And Johnny Cadillac has given us his best bet, and it's on the Houston Rockets at home here. Sixers 21-9, 9-5 on the road. The Houston Rockets 15-14, 12-4 at home. Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Philadelphia 3-2 over the past 5, playing the pace 98.9 possessions a game. Houston 2-3, playing the 8th fastest pace, which is 101.00 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the injury expectations. Smith out, Brooks out, and Terry Eason game time decision. For the Sixers, Embiid and Batum out, and Martin is a game time decision. So moving parts there with the injury situation. Let's take a look at the spread and the situation. Of course, these Sixers just looked very good without Embiid. Very, very good in that 20-point victory at Orlando. They lose to Miami by 6, come back, beat Orlando by 20, been off since Wednesday. The Rockets will be playing their third game in 4 nights. They lost at home to the Pacers by 6. Then they lost badly at home to the Suns by 16. Is this a spot where they can get back to their winning ways at home, which they've done all year? I mean, we're sitting now 12-4, but we remember they were 11-1 a second ago. They are sitting here as 1.5-point dogs. 1.5-point dogs. They opened up at 1.5-point dogs. We've had no movement at all on the spread. From a total perspective, we are sitting here with it at 224 minus 108 to the under. Opened at 222 and up to 224. I'm interested in backing them, but let's take a look at where the cash is. You have 48% of tickets, 40% of cash on the Rockets. I mean, it just feels like the first buy low opportunity for the Rockets at home all season long. That's what it feels like right now. And it feels like we're taking advantage of, coming back to earth for the Sixers after that great performance without Embiid. 53 on the spread, 53 and 62 are on the Sixers. On the money line, 74% of tickets and 85% of the cash is on the Sixers. 74 and 85. And let's just take one look at what's happening here on the money line, movement-wise, because I'm very close to pulling the trigger here on the Rockets as a home dog here. So at Pinnacle, the Sixers opened up at minus 110, and they got up to minus 124 until there was buyback. Minus 124 is at 10:30 this morning. There's been a 4-cent move to them and all this money line cash on them. I want the Rockets here, I think. Take it away. Take us home, Brizzy. What do you think? Sixers, Rockets at Toyota Center.
Yeah, what's holding me back from backing the Rockets here in this spot is, this could be just an overreaction, but it's the fucking coach, man. Ime Udoka. Bro, how are you playing 10 people on this team and Jalen Green is coming off the bench? Damn near he's your best scorer. So it's just like, I don't know what Udoka's doing. Tuesday night, the Rockets played the Pacers, right? These are the minutes off the bench. Aaron Holiday played 25 minutes Torrey Eason played 25 minutes. Deshaun Tate played 13. Thompson played 12. Jalen Green, whatever the dude Green that used to play for the Celtics back in the day, old man, he played 10 minutes. Bro, why are you going that deep into your rotation? If you're going that deep into your rotation, you're already without Dylan Brooks. It's just like, man, like, I don't know what's not clicking for him. If you watch the Rockets games, he thinks that he's more than what he is. He thinks he's hot shit. And sometimes, like, he thinks that he knows more than what he knows. Like, there's no reason why Cam Whitmore, Azor Thompson, Aaron Holiday, and Torrey Easton, bro, they're playing 17 minutes, 24 and 25. Bro, what are you thinking? Like, you play against decent NBA teams, you're going to get fucking smoked. And that's what's been happening for the Rockets. They're due to regress. The Rockets are not as good as their record is implied. So it's like a conundrum. A team that's supposed to regress versus a team that's in a good spot, because they are in a good spot. I mean, they dropped 2 straight home games last week on the show. We were talking about how the Rockets were such a good home team. They're 18, 10-1 ATS this year at home, 12-4 at home compared to 3-8 on the road. Without Embiid, the Sixers are very reliant on the 3-point line. If they're hitting their 3-point shots, they can easily win any basketball game. We saw that against Orlando Magic. They were hitting their 3-pointers. They won the game. When they played against the Miami Heat, they weren't hitting their 3-pointers. They didn't win the game. But I kind of lean that the Sixers don't hit their 3-pointer shots in this game. The Rockets have the best 3-point defense in the NBA. I could see this playing out a little bit similar to last year's game in Houston when the Rockets won as a home underdog. But what's holding me back from pulling off the trigger is I think that this basketball coach is overrated, and the Rockets are drawing, bro. Like, there's no reason why the fuck Jalen Green is coming off the bench in any basketball game. I don't care if the kid plays defense. Nobody in the NBA plays defense. It's an over league. What are you talking about? I'm mad about his defensive presence. And the only thing that's really holding me back off between that and the fact that Tyrese Maxey fucking owned Fred VanVleet. If you look at those historical career head-to-head matchups, Maxey has fucking fried Fred VanVleet. And if Maxey goes off in this game, that's what the books aren't really like accounting for. I think if this game goes over, it's because the Sixers are hitting shots, and this game goes over, then the Sixers are more than live enough to win this game. But if this game goes under, I definitely think that means the Houston Rockets were locking up on defense. The 3-point shots weren't falling. But it's a weird conundrum, man. It's like, if you bet on the Rockets throughout the rest of like the month of December into January, I think that it's a losing bet. Like, they're definitely due to regress. They're not as good as their record is this year. We've been back in Houston. I think the Houston at home, we're cashing tickets left and right. It was damn near to the point where like their last home game loss up until this week was the first week of the season against Golden State in their home opener. Like, they were a cash cow at home. So from a positive regression spot, it looks like a Houston spot. But man, Ipe Udoka, man, you're fucking up the rotations, bro. There's no reason that Jalen Green is coming off the bench in any NBA game. Why are you playing Aaron Holiday 25 minutes? Shit, the oldest brother, Drew Holiday, barely plays 30 minutes a game. So, like, you're playing the worst out of the 3 brothers. The most minutes that damn near all 3 of them are seeing just doesn't make sense. The Rockets right now, I'm just not – they're going too deep in their rotations. I think that this team is still trash. I just can't put money on them.
The first game of back-to-backs with the limitations that the coaches are dealing with have been really hurting teams. And now the Sixers on the first game of back-to-back, I feel like the Rockets, I feel like we're able to sell these Sixers high without Embiid for possibly the only time this year. I mean, it's possible that we don't get an opportunity to fade the Sixers off of a 20-point victory they even just call it a double-digit victory. And this is a spot where the Rockets, who were dominating at home and now have lost 3 of 4, get to play the Sixers on Friday night at home. Don't play again till Monday. This is game 3 of a 5-game homestand. And they've
They're
lost
also
the first 2
down
games.
2 starters, though. They're not without Dylan Brooks and Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith is a 20-point per game scorer. Dylan Brooks is by far your best defender. We just got done talking about how the Rockets are going too deep into their rotation. This team is playing on a front end. The Sixers are playing on a front end of a back-to-back. Bro, if he goes into this rotation about 10 deep tonight, man, who the fuck are you playing? Because I just don't – I just see if Tobias Harris and Maxey are going off and you have Jashawn Tate, Tari Eason out here, and you don't want to play Jalen Green minutes, bro, you about to lose this game, man.
Huh. Okay. I mean,
it's a rocket spot, though.
Yeah, at this point, I'm going to. That's wild. Kong tried to get me to get off of my action, and then fucking Kentucky scores a touchdown immediately. I plan on betting the Rockets here, but all of your points completely, make sense here. But I want to move on the Rockets at home here. With Philadelphia on the first half of back-to-back after losing 2 straight. I mean, I'm going to.
Jalen Green might be trash, but Jalen Green does put the ball in the back of the basket. The game that we play, he's really good at doing that. The rest of the people that are playing over him, yeah, they're great defenders, but if they're not putting the ball in the back of the basket, bro, Jashawn Tate and Tari Eason should not be playing no 30 minutes in the NBA basketball game. Fuck out of here.
Dan Kelly talking about the new owners here who, no longer have any casinos in North America, right? They're all in, is it Macau or they have no casinos in North America right now. And the best part about it though, Dan, is that Texas will legalize sports gambling. Because of this, at some point, you have to think that how much money are they going to put in the coffers? I mean, they're going to put millions and millions of dollars every year. They're going to start putting $50 million a year into the politicians' hands, $100 million a year. Texas will legalize sports gambling because of this ownership, I believe.
I agree.
Okay, let's roll on. Next up for us, we have Oklahoma City Thunder at the Denver Nuggets. We're at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. And our guy, Ron Crawford, has given us the spreadsheet play of the day. Unfortunately, now they can both cash, but it goes up against our guy BJ's best bet. BJ is on the Nuggets money line for 5 units, while Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day is the Oklahoma City Thunder +3. Let's roll into this spot. OKC 4-1 over their past 5, playing at 6th fastest pace in the NBA, 101.40 possessions a game, while Denver 5-0, playing at the pace 97.60 possessions a game. That's 27th fastest. Deshaun G says Joker triple-double again. Let's first take a look at the rest situation for both squads. We have Thunder on a 2-game winning streak. They last played on Wednesday night with a 129-120 victory at home over the Knicks. It was a nice long homestand for them. Now they hit the road to Mile High, where Denver's been winning, but this is second half of a back-to-back after smashing Memphis 142-105 last night. And Dan Kelly says a 2-point Denver win, which will cover for both. Oh, no, I see how they – of course, I mentioned that, Dan. I already said that they could both win that right off the very, very beginning. So, maybe you're not talking to me.
King Kong Clips, that's a dope play. He said double result. OKC first half, Denver full game, +500.
It's a very, very interesting look here. Williams, a game time decision, and Gordon, of course, out because of the face bite and the hand bite.
I hate the laugh.
Jesus. Okay, here we go. So let's go into the line history here for this one. From a line history standpoint, we're sitting here with the total at 236.5. It is juiced to the over, -113 to the over. This opened up at 232.5. So we have a 4-point move to the over. 4 points of movement to the over. From a spread perspective, we are sitting here with Oklahoma City at +3 at -109. They opened up at 3 and they dropped down to, they went up to 3.5 and they're back at 3. Cash wise, here we have 55% of tickets and 51% of cash on Denver, 82% tickets, 81% cash on the over, and we've seen it move heavily in that regard. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Next game on the card, we have 3 games left on today's show. This one here, Thunder at Nuggets.
Oh boy, we've been waiting patiently for the day that we can just fire off on one of my favorite NBA players, Michael Porter Jr. But yesterday was like let the whole public bet it. Everybody was betting the 7.5 rebounds to over 2.5 threes. The Nuggets ended up blowing out the Grizzlies by 40 points. He didn't even have to play. So this is the game that we want Michael Porter Jr. But before we get into that, we got to talk about the spread preview on probably the best game to watch on the card tonight. When it comes to the spread, both of these teams enter in good form, and the books are kind of letting you pick your side. I mean, the Thunder have won 7 out of their last 9 games, and they're looking for a 3rd straight win, but they've disappointed versus the upper tier of the Western Conference. Are they really that tier of team? Because they've lost 12 straight Friday games versus the West. So I don't really note too many days of the week, but Friday and Monday are the 2 days of the week that I like to circle the most. Monday is the day after a weekend. Friday is the day heading into a weekend, and the Thunder just haven't performed in that spot. So kind of a weird spot. The Nuggets have been in better form. They've won 9 out of their last 10 games on a 6-game winning streak. It's hard to get in front of the Nuggets train right now and be betting against this team. They won 26 out of their last 27 home games versus a Western Conference team with a winning record, which is very telling. But my favorite prop of the day comes in this game. We're going with Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 3-pointers at -142, coming off that blowout win yesterday. But the books have raised the prices on his shooting. After that abysmal performance yesterday, the 3-point prop is 10 cents higher today than what it was yesterday. And the rebounds are at 8.5 when it was at 7.5 yesterday. So the books know what's up. They're expecting a bounce back game, and deservedly so. I mean, if you look at it, OKC allows the 3rd highest frequency of 3-point attempts in the NBA and the 5th most makes from the 3-pointers in the NBA. They're allowing 15.4 3-pointers per game over their last 10 games and the 4th most catch and shoot opportunities. They're running Jalen Williams at the power forward position, which is a great spot for Michael Porter Jr. Last night, he was fucking guarding Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, ain't a good spot for Michael Porter Jr. I mean, he's long enough, but Jaren Jackson Jr. is doing post moves and stuff like that. This is a more perimeter-centric game. Both of these teams are going to be running with 4 guys out on the perimeter, and that bodes well for Michael Porter Jr. He's hit 3 or more 3-pointers in all 4 matchups versus Oklahoma City in the last 2 seasons, and he's hit 4+ 3-pointers in 3 of those games. So we got Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 threes at -142, Michael Porter Jr. 4+ 3-pointers at +180, and Michael Porter Jr. for 5 3-pointers tonight +470. We're rolling with the ladder for Michael Porter Jr. He's about to stroke that shit tonight, no homo.
Wow, +470. So over 2.5 threes -142, 4 or more at +180, 5 or more at +470. I got that right?
Yes, sir.
Johnny K liking the look on Porter Jr. And Dan Kelly says this is one of those tail Billy no matter what spots. Wow. Very, very interesting. And Deshaun G also liking the Porter 2 or more threes and over rebounds and points. Locked in. Triple up spot for Brizzy. Move on to the next spot on the board. 9 p.m. Eastern. Charlotte Hornets 7-21, 3-10 on the road. At the Phoenix Suns 15-15, 7-9 at home. We're at Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Charlotte 0-5 over their past 5, playing at the 14th fastest pace, 99.50 possessions a game. BJ says revenge game there, and that Malone addressed it last night. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one in the Thunder Nuggets. Here we have the Suns 2-3 over the past 5, 101 possessions a game. That's 8th, the fastest in the league. Suns snapped their 3-game losing streak with that 129-113 victory at Houston on Wednesday. And the Charlotte Hornets on the second half of back-to-back after that 133-112 loss at the Lakers last night. And they played well in the first half and then completely shut down. And let's take a look at what we're dealing with. We have Charlotte as 16-point dogs. 16-point dogs. Open up at 15, go to 15.5. Now 16. Wow. Then we have, and we heard that Beal is going to be back. I believe it was Kong's Clips who let us know that was going on. From a total scenario, we have a 231.5 -108 to the over. This opened up at 233, and it got all the way down to 230.5 before there was a little bit of buyback. So a move to the under and a very slight move here towards the Suns, a 1-point move towards the Suns. 57% of the tickets and 58% of the cash is on the Suns. 64% of the tickets and 88% cash is on the over here. Take it away for us, Brizzy. Third to last game on the board, Hornets, Suns.
Yeah, you knew it was going to be a long season for the Hornets when they came into the season with Mr. Beast becomes the first Twitch/YouTube content creator to get a NBA sponsored jersey. That's when you know this season was done for the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Ball's out here sticking his shit in. Zendaya, he ain't worried about playing basketball anytime soon. He already got paid. He's got his new shoe out. He's got one of the baddest girls in the world. Oh, man. The Hornets are just like, I don't care how many points you put up on this game. I ain't betting the Charlotte Hornets. This feels like a bookie trap spot. Plus 17 last night looks so good with the Pistons. Regardless of how that game ended, the plus 17 was never in sweat. And this kind of bodes as like the same exact scenario here with the Charlotte Hornets and Suns. But man, the Suns, don't call me crazy, man. They're turning the fucking corner, man. And I'm not betting against this team right now. They're on a 3-game winning streak. Charlotte's on the second half of a back-to-back. Questionable rotations. They've been completely dominated by Phoenix head-to-head wise. By the time, Jim, I was scrolling through when was the last time the Hornets beat the Suns, I said, it doesn't even fucking matter if it's more than fucking 5 games in a row. So, like, I'm not betting Charlotte. I can't take the points with Charlotte. But I will say, a way to get in on this game, I'm not one of these guys yet. More towards the playoffs when we start really narrowing down these slates, I get more into the unders. But this would be the coveted star player under spot of betting the under 26.5 points for Kevin Durant and under 25.5 points for Devin Booker. It's a Friday night in Phoenix. You see Devin Booker's Instagram, he's going to be rolling in the drop top with his homies in the car. He ain't giving a fuck about this basketball game. Kevin Durant don't give a fuck about this basketball game. They can both play about 30 minutes, 25 minutes. They still cover the game and they still go under the point prop. It would be like, this is more of like the Grayson Allen type of game where Grayson Allen goes out there and he goes off. He's been scoring a lot of recent. He's been a great contributor for this team. Bradley Beal back up in the lineup for this team. So it's only going to make the Phoenix Suns deeper. And I think the Suns are a bet on team next month.
Wow, that's a wildly interesting breakdown. Yeah, a lot of it makes a ton of sense too. There, it's in the player prop side of things. The game doesn't appeal to me enough for me to move on.
This is the worst betting game in the whole entire card.
Let's move on to 10 p.m. Eastern. We've heard Victor Wembanyama out. Spurs 4-25, 2-12 on the road. Trailblazers 8-21, 4-10 at home. You know, I wanted to move on this Blazers bounce back. We haven't seen. I guess the line was set up with Wembanyama out, so it opened up at 5. It's now at 5.5. So
yeah, Pop said last night he was going to play tonight.
Yeah, so nothing has changed, you know, in that regard. And then, do you want the Blazers, who are dealing with a ton of injury issues themselves? The total is. Say what, my man?
I said facts. No, that's facts.
Yeah, I mean, like all the question marks around who's going to be out there for them. This opens up at 227.5. It's now at 230. And when we get to, you know, who's in, who's out, we know that Ayton, Sharp, and Simons are all game time decisions. I mean, it just makes things very difficult. At least we know that Brogdon and Jeremy Grant are going to be out there. Grant coming off big game last night.
Even Duop Reith, who had like damn near like a 2020 game earlier this week, he's questionable for this game.
He's questionable too. Yeah, it's a really tricky spot. Let's go over to the cash flow here. I thought it was a simple spot, and the market is betting the Blazers like it is. 73% of tickets and 91% of cash, but the books don't care. You want the books to care, and they don't care that everyone's betting the Blazers. 54% of the tickets and 87% cash on the over. The Spurs fastest pace in the league over the last 5 games, 104.4 possessions a game, while Portland 2-3, 99.30 possessions a game. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Spurs, Blazers.
Yeah, this is a classical back-to-back situation here where we see the same exact team play against the same exact team in the same exact scenario, back-to-back games. It's very profitable. The back-to-team that lost the first game, shouts to the Knicks on Christmas Day, same exact theory. The Knicks got blown out a couple days before that Christmas game, but they showed up in the second game, same exact scenario and the same exact line, damn near, and they won the game. So it feels like a Blazer spot, but I think the way to attack this would be the Portland team total over 118.5. The only hesitancy on that is I need Anthony Simons out there. Just give me Anthony Simons. I don't think Sharp's going to play. Just give me Anthony Simons because they couldn't take advantage of this matchup last night. The Spurs allowed the most 3-pointers in the NBA. So just by common sense, if they allowed the most 3-pointers in the NBA, this game went way under yesterday. The Blazers should get back Simons for this one. I think the Blazers bounce back, the team total over. You eliminate the spread. Even if the Spurs win this game would be a pretty high-scoring game if they did win. But another way to attack this one, once props come out for this game, Zach Collins over 6.5 rebounds versus his old team here. Last night, he played 16 minutes on the floor, and he had 11 points and 7 rebounds. He's Wemby's direct replacement backup. He's been going over his props, the games that Wemby hasn't played in. So it would be like a Zach Collins rebound prop. He'll probably be popular on DraftKings tonight, probably not FanDuel for daily fantasy purposes. But Portland team total over for me or nothing. And I just for like my heartache, I've been really narrowing down of like, I need the perfect spot, the perfect scenario to place a bet. I'm not betting something just because I think it's going to win. I think the Portland Trail Blazers team total over is the best bet. But if you told me that Anthony Simons sat in this game and they won this game outright or covered the spread and the game went under, I wouldn't be too completely shocked. So Anthony Simons is in this game. You bet the Portland team total over. That's the bet. 118.5.
Do you want to make that team total over 118.5 minus 111 official right now?
No, sir. We need Anthony Simons to be in the lineup because this is the best 3-point matchup. Anthony Simons is one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA. Just last night alone, you could just tell that they missed that 25 points per game on the floor because that's how many points they lost by, damn near.
All right. So we're waiting on whether Anthony will be in or not at this point. But game time decision. There's our guy Troy Torrance in the house. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. The final spot on the board, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Memphis Grizzlies 10-19, 8-8 on the road at the Los Angeles Clippers 18-12, 12-4 at home. We're at Crypto.com. Memphis 4-1 over their past 5, playing at a pace 99.62 possessions a game, while the Clippers are 3-2, playing at a pace at 99.20 possessions a game. All right, and Dan Kelly said last night on NBA TV when they were interviewing De'Aaron Fox, asked him what player was most impressive, what player was way more impressive than he thought. Anthony Simons, the answer there. All right, here's our final spot on the board. Kawhi Leonard, a game time decision. Plumlee out. Ja, a game time decision. Derrick Rose, game time decision. Same with Kennard and Aldama, and Brandon Clark out. So let's pull up the line history here for our final spot on the board. And we have the total 225.5. That's where it opened. There's been a 10-cent move to the over since it came out, but it's still at the same number. And from a spread perspective, we're sitting here with the clip show as 6.5-point favorites at almost even money. This opened up at 6. It got up to 7.5. And then we've come back to 6.5. So a half-point move towards the Clippers. Let's get into move over here. Let's get into the cash flow for this spot. And we have 47% of tickets and 78% of cash on the Grizzlies. Market not moving towards them. It's a half-point move away from them. And then 67% of tickets, 74% cash on the over. Our final game on the board, Brizzy, Grizzlies, Clippers at Crypto. Take it away.
Yeah, shouts to everybody waiting for the whole entire show. I mean, we broke down 10 games, and I didn't give out a spread pick because this is the only spread pick that I have today. This is the best bet of the card today. Memphis Grizzlies plus the 7.5's gone. If you want to pay for the extra 1.5, I would advise you to because 7 is a very key number in basketball. You would want the 7.5. 6.5 is you could be cutting it close though, but I like the Grizzlies here in this spot. The Clippers might have the worst injury news reports to follow in the NBA. It's highly annoying. but they can't get around the fucking shoot around because everybody's there at the shoot around. But you know who wasn't there today? Kawhi Leonard. He was not there at the shoot around today. And with him out for this game, I have this game lined at -4.5 for the Clippers, +4.5 for the Grizzlies. With him in, I have Memphis as a +6.5 underdog, Clippers 7.5, or it could reach up the high as 7.5. But I like the Grizzlies here in this spot. I don't think Kawhi is going to play, so I think this number is only going to go but down. I think this is going to close at 4.5 or +5. They played the Clippers well in their first matchup with no Ja Morant. They were +8.5 underdogs at home and won the game 105-101. The Grizzlies have played well versus the Clippers. They're 7-1 ATS in their last 8 games head-to-head, and they covered 5 out of their last 7 games in Crypto.com Arena. The market has really caught up to the Clippers' form. They're going 10-2 straight up in their last 12 games and have beaten 7 out of their last 8 Western Conference opponents. But the Grizzlies, with Ja Wick back up in that lineup, they're 4-0 with him in the lineup with a +18.9 in the 145 minutes that he played so far. So when Morant's been on the floor, the team is averaging 119 points per game per 100 possessions. Shouts to Purd the Glass Cleaning for that stat, though. They just need to shoot better from three-pointers. The Grizzlies have the worst three-point shooting percentage in the NBA, but I think that number is due to positively regress. And if they positively regress in this spot here against the Clippers, this is what they're waiting for, man. That injury news report last night of Ja Morant being out for this game said that they don't give a fuck about playing against the Denver Nuggets. They don't want to have Ja Morant playing in altitude. They want this NBA TV game. Well, this is the primetime game for tonight. Primetime, Ja Morant, Ja Wick, wherever you want to call it, as long as he leaves the gun in his fucking car and not in the locker room. I want my money on the Grizzlies. After he just dunked the ball, he did the gun show, he hit the 3, he did the gun show with the bazooka. Not only, Jim, did he pull out the gun, Jim, pulled out a fucking bazooka. He said, not only we're going to do this bigger and better. The Grizzlies have to win basketball games to get inside the NBA play-in spot. I'm behind the Grizzlies right now. I mean, you're giving me +7 with the fucking Grizzlies. I don't care how good the Clippers have been playing. The Grizzlies match up well against the Clippers. They've been playing the Clippers very well. And Ja Morant's going to go off tonight. Ja Morant, it's the gun show, man. You take the +7.5, you sprinkle the money line. Best bet of the card today, Memphis Grizzlies.
And you have no concern that he misses a game due to illness?
No concern. Like none whatsoever.
Do you want the 7 at -119?
I would like to pay for the 7.5 because that coveted 7 number is that's a big number in the NBA. You want that 7.5. But we're going to be sprinkling on the money line a little bit here in this spot. Not official because it's under a unit. All the show bets are a unit or more. So you can't say sprinkle the money line officially, but just know when this game pops off tonight, you got to have your money on the Grizzlies.
7.5 available at -130 right here at Pinnacle.
You could bet the 7. You could bet the 6.5. You could bet whatever you want. The Grizzlies are the play tonight. You bet the Memphis Grizzlies. You could bet the +6 because the line's moving because the injury news report of Kawhi not being at shoot-around today just dropped. So that line's moving. Whatever the number is, as long as it's not 4.5, I think that's where this number could damn near close at is +4.5 with the official news of Kawhi being out. The Grizzlies are the best bet of the card today.
Grizzlies +7.5 -130 for Brizzy. I have interest joining you. Here at 6.5 -115 right now, available at 365, and the 6.5 is a little cheaper at Pinnacle. Brizzy's got MPJ laddered over 2.5 threes at -142, over 4 or more threes at +180, and 5 or more at +470. And by the way, Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today, Thunder +3, best bet for BJ Nuggets money line. I'm going to be moving on the Rockets, and if Spider's in, I'm going to be moving on the Cavs. Lamont Williams' best bet is the Celtics -7.5. Brizzy's on Jalen Johnson over 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -115. We stayed off of Brooklyn, Washington, and we stayed off of New York, Orlando. And that is our NBA breakdown for today. Brizzy, it's so nice to have you back in business with us, man. We've missed you. Great to have you back. Please follow Brizzy on social media. There's his Instagram up there on the screen, but you can also follow him at gettingbills _. He is the man. And Brizzy, we need you on Sunday for NFL Pop-Up if you're available. It's New Year's Eve. Can you make it for New Year's Eve?
Yeah. Wait, is it New Year's
Eve?
Yeah,
New Year's Eve. So, okay, I'll definitely reach out again as well just to confirm. But I'd love to have you on that show, Brizzy. Excellent work. Please go follow him on X and Instagram. Brizzy, any last words here for the Cappers supporting the show?
Yeah, man, it's a John Wick show tonight. The NBA's most coveted superstar is going into Los Angeles on a Friday night, and they're +7 dogs. That's the best bet of the card today. And hopefully my light-skinned brother, man, Porter Jr., can hit some threes tonight, because we're going to ladder that one on up to the profits into 2024.
I love it. There he is, Billy Brisbane, rocking NBA with us. Our final show of 2023, our last show of 2023 here right now. Please join us in the poker tournament. It's very, very going to be very fun tonight. We got a bottle of JMO. Going to hang out with my co-host, Jose Bouquet, who I'd like to see on right now, joining me for the end here of 2023. Jose, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. Excited about the poker tournament as always. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Obviously, me and you will be hosting.
My mom is in. Change of plans. My mom is in. Dr. Saucy will be playing this evening as well.
Good. Need Dr. Saucy in there. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I would put a bounty on myself. However, someone tried to steal my identity and purchase an Amazon Prime membership. So, ixnay on the card. So, can't send you the money even if I wanted to. But I'll be in the tournament. It'll be a whole lot of fun. I will watch the tournament live as well on our live stream as well. We'll go from table to table. Hopefully there'll be some fun tables. So join us. Anyone that wants to be on screen as well, just shoot us a message. It'll be a whole lot of fun. And hopefully we can get some people on screen as well, because it's only so much fun. It's just us two slapdicking around.
Yeah, no, we'll have Ramon Scott. At least he can sing us the turnover chain song and things like that.
Sure.
This is our final show of 2023, and I was wondering what your favorite moment of the year was. And did it just happen on Tuesday in the Peter?
I think it was. Did you watch that?
You got to clip it. Can we clip it out here? And because we could have the underlying, we could have it turn into like a go like black and white too, because you could mention it right on it. What Sharpie had just suffered. Could be written down, and then have Pete, laughing, saying, "You have a sore throat."
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe Pete just slandering the man. But it was that was an all-time moment. And I think I guess that might be my favorite one as well. We did have a very fertile group here. I wrote down some timestamps, and I didn't even make a video this year, but I wrote down some timestamps from earlier in the year. We had back-to-back days with people having kids in the chat as well. Shout out to all the fertile men in the chat as well.
Well, I guess that's a little better than what you used to say when that would go down. But yes, we had the main for us. We had Big Show and Troy having babies. Yeah. That's a big deal. Big Show will be in the poker tournament this evening, and yes, we need to cut. We need to cut the clip of Pistol there and Sharpie.
It's a record scratch moment. You just won't believe it.
Pete
slandering a man that just had a major issue medically, and he's your throat hurts. Oh God, what an asshole that Pete Loshak. That's what all his friends say about him.
They do. Well, they don't actually. And Troy says he'll join us tonight if we don't mind. Yes, we'd love that, Troy. We'd absolutely love that. Absolutely love that.
Sure, Troy. You warming up your hamstrings, Troy?
Let's review all action here in today's show. So I've got a lot of more volume in action. I'm looking forward to fire away here.
Are you, by the way, Jim? I think you've started a trend. I think people have to start putting USD at the end of $50 there, so you can't swindle them. You know,
I agree.
Troy saying that he needs to get that back, that 50 USD. You know, I think you started something, Jimmy. They specifically have to say USD or else
you'll get paid in Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all facts. All facts. Let's review all action here on the show. Looks like I'm going to be down bone 50 here in a second, but Bobano got his day started in a rough way with the Detroit Mercy Titans. 85% of the money on Detroit Mercy and Lions moving towards IUPUI. I should have just moved on it, but Bobano's got the over 145.5 in Wright State, Green Bay. Let's take a look at what's going on there live. Oh, that looks great. Oh, he's cashed that. That's 66-64 right now with 9 minutes left. So he's going to get that paper. Good. That will cover that Detroit look. We got the full card from Razor Sharp Picks. Shout out to Razor Sharp Picks. His full Aqueduct card. God, I'd like to hammer little horses. God, maybe there's time. No one's here right now. They're about to be home. There's the full. But I got to do the records for fucking NFL Pop Hub. So I forgot that. Then Bobano and I are each on the Senators. He's on the draw in New Jersey, Ottawa. I'm on the Predators. Bobano's on the over 6 in Rangers, Florida. He's on the draw in Toronto, Columbus. He's on the draw in Washington, New York Islanders. And he's on the over 5.5. He's on the Blues plus 147. I'd do that if Hofer was in. He's on the over 6 in Chicago, Dallas. We're both on the Ducks. I got 120, got 116. And he's on the over 6 at minus 108 and the draw in Arizona, Anaheim. And I'm on the Kraken -1, and he's on the draw in Philadelphia, Seattle. And we're tracking these draws very closely, very, very closely to see if it's going to work for him. Troy says, why hammer the horses when you can hammer the Colts? I have bet the Colts at 250. And I got -3 at plus 102. I mean, how can I go in at 3.5 at minus money? But I hear you. Bobano is on Oregon State plus 5.5. Right now, they are down 7-0 with 7 minutes left in the first. 7 minutes left in the first. Then we move on to the over 58.5 in the Liberty Bowl for Bobano. Stacks play today is the over 57.5 there. And I'm going to move on Missouri here. Bobano's on the plus 5.5. I'm going to move on them here shortly. Then in college basketball, Bobano moved on Rider, Penn State over 144.5. That has started as well. That doesn't look as good. That's 19-6 Penn State. Riders put up 6 points. I'm sure Bobano is smashing a table right now watching Rider play basketball. Illinois State and Kentucky over 148.5 for Bobano. He's on the over 133 in Kent State St. Mary's. I'm going to be on St. Mary's first half. He's on the Utah Utes -7.5, -110. I'm going to be on the Aztecs. I'm going to be on Colorado first half. He's on Colorado full game in the over 156.5. He's on Arizona -13.5 and the over 156.5. And Arizona State's calling my name. I'm not going to bet that right now. I'm going to just sit and watch this market for 6 or more hours. But if there's no movement and all this money's on Stanford, I will take these shit-ass Sun Devils. And then we just broke down the NBA information. That is our show for today. JP Taylor says Oregon State getting plus 12.5 on the live line. And there you go. That is our show. Thank you guys for supporting it. We're going to let Jose say the final words on Betting with the Bag here for 2023.
You didn't give your favorite moment, by the way.
It was so funny because this year, one of the problems with the moments on the show is that I've cut down my alcohol abuse. And so there's not been as much, madness.
I mean, I guess that's good.
I guess.
Wow.
I am 44.
Live a little longer.
A little, probably.
Yeah, that you're that liver thing, Never again. That's the moment. Jimmy said, "No more sauce on the weekdays."
You only get one chance at that. Kong's Clip said his favorite moment was when I almost snapped on that guy, but that I misinterpreted him. I remember that.
That's true. Yeah, that guy dodged a bullet. That day.
We haven't been; those things haven't been happening very much here. It's not. There's not been as much. A lot of the.
There's not as much negativity. Shout out to the chat.
There's not as much.
You should see it. You should see it on Saturday though. That's where all the negativity goes. Saturday mornings.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a battle in the chat on Saturday morning. Shout out to those who know Saturday morning. It's you know, it's war.
I don't know. I don't know that. Brent Cook says, "Who wants to live longer?" That is
True. The sun's gonna explode anyways. Who cares?
I kind of now that I have children, I was ready just to abuse myself and die early, but I can't do that now. It's sort of a cop out when you have young children, you know, because it's helpful to have guidance. Okay, sorry, family's home, so I can't go bet horses. I was wondering what the hell was going on there. Jose, I want you to be the final words from this show because you are the backbone of this show and of this channel. And thank you for all your hard work. You don't get enough love for all that you do. Shout out to all of you guys in the chat. Mel, Gold 44, Lexicon, Kong's Clips, Brent Cook, DC Capper, Troy Torrance, Gold 44, JP Taylor, Philly Eagle Flyer, Christopher Comentini, Johnny K, Dan Kelly, of course, Dan Kelly, Kelly McInnes in the poker tournament. Please join us tonight for the poker tournament. Coin, Mike, thank you guys so much for all of your support. We really, truly have nothing without you guys, and I mean that. Jay Peasy, thank you. All of you guys, thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful end to 2023, and we start up 2024. And I will be moving my unit size up for the first time in too long, starting January 1st. And I hope I can do that again every January 1st. That will be my goal. And that will be my goal. I need to do that. And Perky, we love you. All of you guys, we love you. Join us in San Antonio. We're less than 3 months away from San Antonio. Take us home, Jose, my friend. Take us home and bless our action here, my friend. Clemson is driving, but down 11. Live spreads at 5.5. It's a little better than it was. Jose, my friend, take control, and thank you guys. Have a blessed. Let's have a blessed 2024. Let's get that cash in 2024, and let's end the year strong. Jose, my friend, take us home.
Yeah, let's end the year strong. We've dominated every sport except for one that we don't talk about that. We're not ready to talk about that sport yet, but it'll be fun when it comes. But everything else has been pretty successful. By the way, oh my God, fuck you, Oklahoma last night. Oh my God.
Can you believe that?
Fucking ass clowns.
When it was 21-13, and
I was counting my money. I was counting my money. I was like, oh, there's no way. Fucking losers. A loser university, a loser program. Fuck them. Really pissed me off. But shout out to everyone. Nasty Nate, AOD, Kelly. By the way, Nasty Nate did enter during the show. So Nasty Nate officially entered in for a free pickup, I believe, as well. So shout out to you, Nasty Nate. But everyone, even you, Perky Sanderson, I appreciate you, my man. Thank you for watching, even though you did freak out on me that one day for whatever reason. Don't know why, but I appreciate you. Christopher Comentini, Mel, DC, all you guys. It's going to be a fun 2024. I will physically see you guys at Pubblepalooza 3. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. You guys will see me. I will probably be super fucking stressed. That is probably true, Nasty, and I was probably picking you up no matter what there. But I will be super stressed. You guys will have a lot of fun. And then the last night, I will get polluted. My pussy will be absolutely disgusting. And again, sign up tonight. Tonight, me and Jimmy, poker. I don't know. I might be putting the stakes out on me. Who knows? Maybe I'll figure out a way to send people money, but it'll be a whole lot of fun. So everyone have a good 2023. We're in 2024 now, maybe. I don't know. Leche, los bookmakers. Bye-bye.